She was drunk. He was nobody. One rainy night, one choice, and by morning the entire company wanted his head. When single dad Mike Thompson drove his CEO home after the Christmas party, he thought he was just doing the right thing. But the next morning, when Elena Richards called him into her corner office, he had no idea she was about to destroy his quiet life forever. Or save it. Subscribe now and comment your city below so I can see how far this story reaches. You won't believe what happens next. I should fire you right now. Those were the first words Elena Richards said to Mike Thompson the morning after he saved her life. He stood in her office, still wearing his janitor's uniform, hands shaking, wondering what he'd done wrong. The rain from last night still echoed in his mind. Her soaked designer dress, the way she'd cried in his old Honda, the 47-minute drive to her penthouse where she'd whispered thank you before stumbling inside. Now she sat behind her glass desk, perfectly composed in a black suit, eyes cold as winter. "Ma'am, I was just trying to help." "Help?" She laughed bitter and sharp. "Do you know what the board said this morning? They said I went home with the janitor. They said I'm having a breakdown. They're questioning my judgment, Mike, because of you." His throat tightened. He had a son at home, rent due in 9 days. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean..." "Stop apologizing." She walked to the window. "Tell me something. Last night when you drove me home, you didn't ask questions. You didn't take photos. You didn't tell anyone. Why?" Mike shifted his weight. "Because you needed help, that's it." "That's it." She turned. Most people would have sold that story to the press by breakfast. The untouchable CEO, Elena Richards, drunk and crying at a company party, that's worth money. "I don't care about money like that." The words came out harder than he meant. "I care about my kid, about doing my job, about getting home alive." Something flickered across her face. Recognition, maybe? "How old is your son?" 12. And his mother, Mike's jaw clenched. "She died 3 years ago, cancer." Silence filled the room. Elena walked back to her desk, pulled out a file folder. His file. Michael Thompson, age 38, hired 14 months ago. Night shift maintenance. Before that, she paused. You worked at Bremen Logistics, senior operations manager. Left in 2021. She looked up. "Why, my wife got sick. We needed insurance. I took a better job, but it required travel. I chose her instead. Then she died and the company downsized. I ended up here. Cleaning floors. Paying bills." Elena sat down slowly. "Last night when you drove me home, I noticed something. You organized my groceries that had spilled in the car. Grouped them by category without being asked. Heavy items on bottom. Fragile on top. Most people wouldn't think twice." Mike said nothing. "Then I remembered something else. 3 months ago, someone suggested a new inventory system. It saved us $18,000. She tapped the file. "That was you." His face heated. "I just noticed we were ordering the same things twice because different departments didn't communicate. It was common sense." Common sense. Elena smiled, but it wasn't warm. "Mike, I have 12 executives with MBAs who didn't notice that, but the janitor did." She opened a drawer, pulled out a stapled document. Pages and pages of handwritten notes, diagrams, efficiency charts. His stomach dropped. His clipboard. The one he'd lost last week. "You left this in the executive break room. I've been reading it for 3 days." She spread the pages out. "This is a complete operational overhaul of our logistics chain. Cost projections, timeline, risk analysis. This is brilliant work, Mike. Professional grade." He couldn't breathe. "That's just ideas. I write things down during breaks. It doesn't mean anything." "It means everything." She leaned forward. "This company is bleeding money. Our logistics system is a disaster. I've spent 6 months trying to fix it with consultants who charge $50,000 to tell me what I already know. And here you are, a night janitor with a clipboard solving problems my entire executive team can't see. Ma'am, with respect, I push a mop. I'm not qualified. You ran logistics for Bremen. You managed supply chains for 3 Western states. You're more qualified than half the people I pay 6 figures." Her voice dropped. "I need someone who thinks differently. Someone who sees what others miss. Last night you saw a person who needed help. This morning everyone else saw an opportunity to destroy me." Mike shook his head. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I want to hire you. Real position. Operations consultant. You'll analyze our systems, propose solutions, work directly with department heads. She named a salary that made his knees weak. 3 times what he made now. Enough to move Dylan out of their cramped apartment. Enough to breathe. But he saw the trap immediately. And when people find out you promoted the janitor who drove you home drunk, they'll say you're sleeping with me. Yes, she didn't blink. They'll say that. They're already saying it. Brad in finance started the rumor an hour ago. By lunch, the entire company will think we're having an affair. Then why would you do this? Because I'm tired of pretending talent only comes from Ivy League schools and corner offices. Her voice cracked slightly. Last night was the worst night of my life, Mike. My husband filed for divorce yesterday morning. The board is trying to force me out. I went to that party and drank too much because I wanted to forget I'm 42 years old and losing everything I built. She stood arms crossed, vulnerable in a way that made him ache. You didn't have to stop. You didn't have to help. But you did. And then I read your work and I realized something. The people I've surrounded myself with see me as a title, a paycheck, a ladder rung. You saw me as a person in the rain. Tears welled in her eyes. So yes, they'll talk. They'll say terrible things. But I don't care anymore. I'm offering you this job because you're good at it. Because you deserve it. And because I need someone in this building who gives a damn about more than politics. Mike stared at the papers on her desk. His handwriting, his ideas, his midnight thoughts while Dylan slept while he scrubbed toilets and dreamed of being more than invisible. If I say yes, it'll make things worse for you. If you say no, it'll make things worse for me and you stay invisible forever, which sounds worse. He thought of Dylan, thought of his wife's hospital bills still unpaid, thought of the way his son's shoes had holes and how he pretended not to notice. When would I start? Elena exhaled relief. Today. Right now. There's an empty office on the 4th floor. Brad will have a fit, but let him. I'm done apologizing for doing what's right. Ma'am? Elena, if we're going to fight this war together, use my name. Mike nodded slowly. Elena, thank you. Don't thank me yet. The hard part starts now. She had no idea how right she was. By noon, the rumors were everywhere. Break room, bathrooms, parking lot, email chains that mysteriously got forwarded. Mike Thompson, the night janitor, promoted overnight to consultant because he took the CEO home from the party. Guess we know how to get ahead around here now, Brad Hutchins said loudly in the cafeteria, making sure Mike heard. Just be in the right place at the right time. Mike kept his head down, carried his lunch tray to an empty table. 3 people got up the second he sat down. In his new office boxes, still unopened, Mike stared at his phone. 7 missed calls from Dylan's school. His heart stopped. He dialed back immediately. Mr. Thompson, this is Vice Principal Morrison. Dylan got into a fight today. Can you come pick him up? A fight? Dylan doesn't fight. What happened? Another student said some things about you and Mrs. Richards. Dylan punched him. We have a zero-tolerance policy. Mike closed his eyes. I'll be right there. He found Elena in the hallway. I have to go. My son... I heard. Her face was tight. The rumors reached his school already. Kids talk. Parents talk faster. He grabbed his jacket. I'm sorry. First day and I'm leaving. Mike, she touched his arm. Handle your family. That comes first, Besides. He drove too fast, mind racing. Dylan had never hit anyone. Never. The kid who cried when they had to return a lost puppy, who spent his allowance on canned food for the shelter. Now suspended because of Mike's choice. Dylan sat in the principal's office, knuckles, bruised, eyes red. Dad, I'm sorry, but Tyler said... His voice broke. He said you slept with your boss to get promoted. He said Mom would be ashamed. I couldn't let him say that about Mom. Mike pulled his son into his arms, felt him shake. It's okay. It's okay. You didn't do anything wrong. 3-day suspension, Principal Morrison said flatly. I understand the circumstances, Mr. Thompson, but violence? I get it. We'll talk at home. Thank you. In the car, Dylan stared out the window. Is it true the stuff people are saying? No, I drove her home because she needed help, that's all. Then she read some work I'd been doing and offered me a job. That's it. But everyone thinks what they want to think. Doesn't make it true. Mike pulled over, looked his son in the eye. Dylan, I took this job because it means you can have new shoes. Because maybe we can afford the robotics camp you wanted. Because I'm good at it. But if it's too hard, if it hurts you, I'll quit tomorrow. You're more important than any job. Dylan wiped his eyes. No, don't quit. Mom always said you were the smartest person she knew. She'd want you to do this. Mike's throat closed up. Yeah, she would. Then we ignore them. Like Mom did when she was sick and people said dumb stuff. We just keep going. When did you get so wise? I had a good teacher. Dylan managed a small smile. Can we get burgers? Suspension feels like it should come with burgers. Mike laughed despite everything. Yeah, burgers. But when they got home, there was a letter taped to their apartment door. Notice of lease termination. 30 days. The landlord had included a printed screenshot of a Facebook post. Local CEO Elena Richards promotes janitor she left party with. Photo attached. Someone had taken a picture of Mike's car in the TechFlow lot at midnight. Posted it with lies. Dylan read the letter over his shoulder. Dad. It's fine. We'll find somewhere else. Better place anyway. Stop lying. You're scared. I can tell. Mike turned to saw his son's face. 12 years old, but looking at him like an adult, like Sarah used to. Yeah, I'm scared. This was supposed to help us. Instead, it's making everything worse. So, what do we do? Mike looked at the letter, at the cruel words, at the photo of his old Honda. Then he looked at his son, and he remembered why he said yes in the first place. We prove them wrong. All of them. We show them I earned this. Not because of one night, but because I'm damn good at what I do. How? I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out. That night, Mike sat at his laptop while Dylan slept on the couch. He opened the files Elena had given him. Full access to TechFlow's operational data. Years of records, invoices, supply orders, shipping manifests. It was a beautiful mess just waiting to be fixed. He started working. One spreadsheet, then another. Patterns emerged like constellations, redundancies everywhere, waste bleeding money, simple fixes that could save thousands. At 3 a.m., Dylan shuffled into the kitchen. Dad, you're still up. Can't sleep. Because of the bad stuff people said. Because I see how to fix their problems, and if I can show them proof, real numbers, maybe they'll stop talking and start listening. Dylan climbed into the chair next to him, studied the screen full of data. Mom used to say you had a gift for seeing things others missed. Your mom was biased. No, she was right. She was always right. Dylan leaned his head on Mike's shoulder. Beat them with your brain, Dad. That's the best revenge. Mike kissed the top of his son's head. Go to bed. School Monday. I'm suspended, remember? Right. Well, tomorrow you're helping me. We're going to build a presentation that changes everything. Like what? Mike smiled, feeling something fierce settle in his chest. Like showing TechFlow solutions that the janitor they're mocking might just about be the person who saves the company. Can I do the graphics? I'm really good at PowerPoint. You're hired. The next morning, Mike walked into TechFlow with his head high. People stared, whispered. Brad made a show of holding the elevator door, then letting it close in Mike's face. Fine, let them. Elena found him at lunch, sitting alone again. How's Dylan, Mop? Suspended. Fighting a kid who called me something I won't repeat. I'm sorry, I never wanted. I know, it's not your fault. He looked at her. But we need to change the narrative. That before this destroys both of us. I'm open to suggestions. Give me 1 week, 7 days. I'll analyze everything, build a presentation that shows exactly how much money I can save this company. Then we present it to everyone, not just the board. Everyone. We make it so undeniable that they can't question it. Elena studied him. That's ambitious. I'm motivated. He showed her his phone. Picture of the eviction notice. Her face went pale. Mike, 7 days, that's all I need. You gave me this chance. Let me prove it was the right call. And if people still don't believe you, then at least we tried, but I don't think they will. Numbers don't lie, and I'm really, really good with numbers. Something fierce lit in Elena's eyes. Okay, 7 days. I'll set up an all-hands meeting for next Friday. You'll have the stage. Whatever you need, you get. Access, resources, time. I'll need department heads to answer questions. Done. And I'll need you to trust me, even if it gets worse before it gets better. Elena extended her hand. Partners. Mike shook it firmly. Partners. That night, Mike and Dylan worked like they were preparing for war. Spreadsheets covered the kitchen table. Dylan organized data while Mike built models. They ordered pizza at midnight. Fell asleep on the couch, surrounded by papers. Saturday morning, Elena called. Mike, Brad's spreading more rumors. Says you're in over your head, that you'll embarrass yourself Friday. Good, let him think that. You sound confident. Because I found something. Something big. Can you meet me at the office? I need to show you. An hour later, they stood in his office door closed. Mike pulled up a chart on his laptop. Look at this. TechFlow uses 17 different suppliers for the same category of parts. 17. Nobody talks to each other. Nobody negotiates bulk rates. If we consolidate to 5 suppliers and negotiate multi-year contracts, we save. He pointed at the number. $247,000 annually. Elena leaned closer, her breath catching. How did no one see this? Because everyone's focused on their own department. Procurement doesn't talk to logistics. Logistics doesn't talk to production. I spent 20 years connecting those dots. It's what I do. Can you prove it? Really prove it? Give me until Wednesday. I'll have a full breakdown with vendor quotes and implementation timeline. Elena sat down overwhelmed. Mike, if you can pull this off. If we can pull this off, you took the risk. You saw something worth saving. Don't forget that. She looked at him with something like wonder. Everyone said I was crazy. That I promoted you because you're smart enough to recognize talent wherever it is. That's not crazy. That's leadership. I hope the board agrees. They will. The numbers won't give them a choice. But Monday morning brought a new crisis. Mike arrived to find his office door spray-painted with 2 words, home wrecker. Security was already there. Photos being taken, Elena came running. Who did this? Her voice shook with rage. Doesn't matter. Mike stared at the red paint dripping down. What matters is finishing the presentation. This matters. This is harassment, vandalism. Elena, he turned to her. If we react, we play their game. If we ignore it and deliver results Friday, we win. Which one matters more? She clenched her fists, then slowly nodded. Clean it up. Bill it to facilities. Thank you. But she grabbed his arm as he walked away. Mike, I need you to know something. When I hired you, I knew this would happen. I knew they'd attack you. Attack me. I did it anyway because... She paused. Because for the first time in years, I met someone who reminded me why I started this company. Not for money, not for power, but to build something that matters. Don't let them take that away from you. I won't, I promise. Monday afternoon, Mike sent formal requests to every department head. Most ignored him. 3 replied with one-word answers. Brad sent back a message, too busy for the help. Mike forwarded them all to Elena. She responded by sending a company-wide memo. All department heads will provide full cooperation to Mike Thompson's operational review. This is not optional. Failure to comply will be noted in annual reviews. Elena Richards, CEO. Brad showed up at Mike's office 30 minutes later, face red. You running to the boss now? Can't fight your own battles? Mike looked up calmly. I need Q4 vendor payment data. You've been ignoring my request for 3 days. So yes, I went to the boss. Because my job is to find inefficiencies and you're being inefficient. You arrogant... The data, Brad. Or do I need to ask Elena to personally walk you through how to use the file share? Brad slammed a folder on the desk. Here, hope it was worth humiliating yourself over. Thanks for your cooperation. Mike opened the folder, started scanning numbers. Didn't even look up as Brad stormed out, but something caught his eye. Invoice numbers out of sequence. Vendor payments that didn't match purchase orders. He pulled up the digital records, cross-referenced dates. His stomach dropped. Someone was cooking the books. Dylan called during lunch. Dad, Mom's friend Mrs. Patterson stopped by. She brought groceries. Said she didn't believe the rumors. Said Mom would be proud of you. Mike's eyes stung. Yeah, and Dad, I finished the graphics for slides 12 through 30. Want me to email them? You're the best partner I've ever had, kiddo. Mom would say we're a team. Teams don't quit. No, they don't. Tuesday night, Mike worked until his eyes burned. The presentation was coming together beautifully. Cost savings, efficiency improvements, vendor negotiations, timeline projections, every claim backed by data. But he couldn't stop thinking about those invoice discrepancies. He opened Brad's files again, dug deeper, found wire transfers to vendors that didn't exist, shell companies with P.O. boxes, small amount, 5,000 here, 8,000 there, spread over 18 months. Someone was embezzling from TechFlow, and Mike was pretty sure he knew who. Wednesday morning, Mike walked into Elena's office and closed the door. "We have a problem." "What kind of problem?" He laid out the documents, showed her the pattern, the fake vendors, the missing money, total nearly $300,000 over 2 years. Elena's face went white. "Who?" "Brad Hutchins, CFO, your finance director." No, Brad's been with me for 8 years. He wouldn't. The signatures are his, the approvals are his, the wire transfers go through accounts he controls. Mike's voice was gentle. "I'm sorry, I know you trusted him." She sat down hard. "This is why he's been spreading rumors. He knew you'd find this." "Probably." "What do we do?" "You call the police, you call your lawyer, you lock down his access immediately." Mike paused. "And Friday we go forward with the presentation anyway. We show the company that while one person was stealing from them, we were working to save them money. We turn this into proof that your instincts were right." Elena looked at him with tears in her eyes. "I almost fired you. That first morning, I almost let them win." "But you didn't. You took a chance. Now let's finish what we started." Thursday morning, Brad Hutchins was arrested at his desk. Security walked him out in handcuffs while 200 employees watched in stunned silence. Elena sent a company-wide email within the hour. "This morning, we discovered financial irregularities in our finance department. Law enforcement has been notified. We are cooperating fully. Tomorrow's all-hands meeting will proceed as scheduled. Elena Richards, CEO." The rumors shifted instantly. Whispers in the hallways changed tone. Did Mike find the fraud? Is that why Elena hired him? Maybe she knew all along. Mike kept his head down, kept working. Dylan called after school. Called after. "Dad, it's all over the news. Your company arrested someone." "I know. Did you catch a bad guy?" Mike smiled despite his exhaustion. "I just did my job, buddy. Found some numbers that didn't add up." "Mom would say you're a hero." "Mom would say I'm just doing what's right. There's a difference." "Not to me." Thursday night, Mike couldn't sleep. His presentation was ready. 93 slides of pure operational gold. Dylan had fallen asleep on the couch laptop, still open color-coding the final charts. Mike covered him with a blanket, looked at his son's peaceful face, and felt his wife's presence so strongly it hurt. "I hope I'm doing the right thing, Sarah. I hope you'd be okay with all this." The wind rattled the window. In his imagination, he heard her voice. "You're doing exactly what I always knew you could. Now go show them." Friday morning arrived like Judgment Day. The all-hands meeting. 200 employees had packed into the main conference room and overflow spaces. Cameras streaming to remote workers. News crews outside after the embezzlement story broke. Mike stood backstage wearing the suit Elena had bought him because he didn't own one, hands shaking. She found him in the wings. "You ready?" "Terrified." "Good. That means you care." She straightened his tie. "Mike, whatever happens today, thank you. For being brave enough to try. For seeing what I couldn't see. For being exactly who you are. If this fails..." "It won't. I've seen your work. I've watched you fight when most people would have quit. Trust yourself the way I trust you." The lights dimmed. Elena walked on stage to scattered applause and awkward silence. "Good morning. I know why you're here. I know what you've heard. So let's address it directly." Her voice rang clear and strong. 3 weeks ago, I made a decision that many of you questioned. I promoted our night janitor to operations consultant. People said I'd lost my mind, that I was letting personal feelings cloud my judgment, that I was destroying this company's reputation. The room was silent, tense. Yesterday, that same man uncovered nearly $300,000 in fraud that had been bleeding this company for 2 years. Fraud that every executive, every department head, and every financial control we had in place failed to catch. But the janitor found it. Murmurs rippled through the wild crowd. So today you're going to hear from Mike Thompson himself, not from me, not from the rumors. From him. He's going to present findings from his operational review, then you can decide for yourselves. Was I wrong to promote him, or did I see something the rest of us missed? She turned toward the wings. Mike. He walked out into the spotlight. 200 faces, some curious now, some still doubting, some openly supportive. Brad's empty seat in the front row a stark reminder of what corruption looked like. Mike plugged in his laptop. His first slide appeared. Just 5 words, let the numbers tell the truth. He took a breath, thought of Dylan watching from home, of Sarah's voice in the wind, of every person who said he'd never be more than the guy who cleaned their messes. And then Mike Thompson, former janitor, single dad widow, opened his mouth and changed everything. Good morning. My name is Mike Thompson. 4 weeks ago, I was mopping these floors at midnight. Today, I'm standing here because one person had the courage to look past a job title and see potential. I'm here to show you why she was right. Click. Next slide, a simple chart showing TechFlow's current supply chain. This is how your company currently operates. 17 vendors for identical parts, 0 bulk negotiation, departments that don't communicate, systems that hemorrhage money every single day. Click. Next slide. Click. Next, his proposed model. This is what it could be. 5 strategic vendors, multi-year contracts, integrated communication protocols, annual savings $247,000, implementation timeline 90 days, risk factor minimal. Someone in the back started taking notes. But it's not just about vendor consolidation. It's about the culture that allowed inefficiency to become normal. That allowed fraud to go unnoticed. That made you believe talent only comes from the right schools and the right backgrounds. Click. Another slide. Data comparing TechFlow to industry competitors. I spent 20 years in logistics. I managed supply chains across 3 states. Then my wife got sick and I made a choice. I chose her. I chose my son. I left a career I loved to be the husband and father they needed. When she died, I found myself starting over at 38 years old, pushing a mop, wondering if I'd ever be more than invisible. His voice cracked slightly, but he pushed through. But you know what? Pushing that mop taught me something. It taught me that the people at the bottom see things the people at the top never will. I saw the waste. I saw the missed opportunities. I saw simple solutions to complex problems. And I wrote them down not because I thought anyone would care, but because I couldn't help myself. Click. His original handwritten notes appeared on screen. These are my notes, written on breaks, during lunch, at 2 a.m. when I couldn't sleep. This is what passion looks like when nobody's watching. This is what expertise looks like in dirty work boots and a janitor's uniform. The room was completely silent now. Elena Richards saw these notes and took a chance. Not because of anything inappropriate, not because of one night in the rain, but because she's a real leader who understands that great ideas don't care about your title. They don't care if you have an MBA or a mop. They just care if you're willing to see problems and fix them. Click. Financial projections showing TechFlow's potential growth. So here's what I'm proposing. Not just vendor consolidation, a complete cultural shift, open innovation channels, suggestion programs that actually matter, recognition for ideas regardless of where they come from. Because I guarantee you, I'm not the only person in this building with valuable insights. I'm just the first one someone bothered to listen to. He advanced through slide after slide, each one showing concrete data, specific cost savings, implementation plans, timeline projections, vendor quotes he'd already negotiated. The audience leaned forward. Phones came out taking pictures of the slides. Executives whispered to each other frantically. Mike reached his final slide. In conclusion, I can save this company approximately $500,000 in the first year alone. Not through layoffs, not through cuts that hurt people, through efficiency, through communication, through respect for every person's potential contribution. He paused. But more importantly, I can help change the culture that made you think the janitor couldn't possibly have anything valuable to offer. Because that culture, that's the most expensive thing you're paying for. Silence. Absolute silence. Then from the back of the room, someone started clapping. Then another person. Then another. Within seconds, the entire room was on their feet. Applause thundered through the space. People who'd whispered about him 2 weeks ago now cheered. Elena stood to the side, tears streaming down her face. Mike stood at the podium, overwhelmed, thinking only one thought. We did it, Sarah. We actually did it. The applause continued for what felt like forever. When it finally died down, hands shot up across the room. Mr. Thompson, when can we start implementation? Mike, would you review our department's processes too? Can you train our managers on this approach? Questions flooded in. Respect flooded in. Everything changed in 48 minutes and 93 slides. Later, after the crowd dispersed after the handshakes and congratulations, Mike found himself alone in his office. He picked up his phone and called Dylan. How did it go, Dad? Mike smiled through tears. We won, buddy. We actually won. I knew you would. Want me to order pizza to celebrate? Yeah, extra cheese. I'm coming home. Dad, yeah. I'm proud of you. Mom would be too. Mike's voice broke. I love you, Dylan. Love you too. Now hurry home, pizza's getting cold. Mike hung up, grabbed his jacket, took one last look at the office that used to be impossible. Then he walked out, heading home to his son, to Friday night pizza, to a life that suddenly felt full of possibility. Behind him, Elena called out, Mike, wait. He turned. She walked toward him, no longer the ice-cold CEO, just a woman who'd taken a chance and won. Thank you for proving me right, for being exactly who I thought you were. Thank you for seeing me when everyone else looked away. Partners. She extended her hand. Mike shook it. Partners, now and always. As he drove home through Friday night traffic, Mike thought about the journey. From mopping floors to changing minds, from invisible to undeniable, from widow to warrior. His phone buzzed. Text from a number he didn't recognize. Mr. Thompson, this is Maria Gonzalez. I work night cleaning crew. I saw your presentation today. I have ideas too. Would you have time to talk? Mike smiled, pulled over, typed his response. Maria, I have all the time in the world. Let's talk Monday. Bring your ideas. All of them. They matter. He put the phone down, looked at the city lights, and whispered to the sky. We're just getting started, Sarah. This is just the beginning. And somewhere in the space between here and wherever she was, Mike could have sworn he felt her smile. The revolution had begun, not with executives or MBAs or corner offices, but with a janitor who refused to stay invisible, with a CEO who refused to stop believing, with a 12-year-old boy who reminded his father that heroes come in work boots, and with a love story that proved the best romance isn't between two people falling in love. It's between a person and their own forgotten potential finally meeting again. Monday morning arrived with a different energy. Mike walked through TechFlow's main entrance and people nodded at him, actually nodded. Security guard smiled. Receptionist said good morning like she meant it. Mike, hold up. He turned. 3 executives from operations were walking toward him, the same ones who'd ignored his emails 2 weeks ago. That presentation Friday was incredible, the tall one said. James, Mike remembered. We'd like to schedule time with you this week. Review our processes, see where we're bleeding money. Sure, email my assistant to schedule. Your assistant? Mike blinked. I don't have an assistant yet, do I? James laughed. After Friday, you will by lunch. Elena's probably drafting the job posting right now. They walked away and Mike stood there slightly dizzy. Assistant? He had an assistant coming. His phone buzzed. Text from Maria Gonzalez. Mr. Thompson, still okay to meet today? I have my notes ready. Absolutely. My office at 2 p.m. Bring coffee if you want. We'll be talking a while. He headed upstairs and found Elena waiting by his office door holding 2 cups of coffee. Thought you might need this. You're a mind reader. He unlocked the door, gestured her inside. What's up? Board meeting this afternoon. They want to discuss your presentation and your new role. His stomach tightened. New role. Mike, you can't stay a consultant forever. Not after what you did Friday. They're talking director of operations. Maybe VP track if you're interested. VP Elena, I've been here 3 weeks. And you've already saved us $500,000 and caught an embezzler. She sat down serious now. I need you to understand something. This isn't charity. This isn't me being nice. You're legitimately one of the most valuable people in this building now. The board knows it. I know it. Time you knew it too. Mike sank into his chair. What if I'm not ready? Nobody's ever ready, but you're capable. There's a difference. She paused. Dylan doing okay after everything? He's good, happy, proud actually. Keeps telling his friends his dad is important now. He's always been important. Now other people just see it. Elena stood. Meetings at 3. Wear the suit. Be yourself. They're going to love you. And if they don't, then I remind them I'm still CEO and they work for me. She smiled, but steel-edged her voice. I didn't take this fight to lose it now. After she left, Mike tried to focus on emails. 47 new messages, requests for meetings, questions about implementation, 3 different departments wanting his input. One email stood out, from Dr. Patricia Chen, Head of Research and Development. Mr. Thompson, your presentation raised questions about R&D spending efficiency. I'd like to discuss this privately before any formal review. Please call me. Mike dialed her extension. Dr. Chen, this is Mike Thompson. You wanted to talk? Yes, thank you for calling. Her voice was clipped, nervous. Mr. Thompson, I need to be direct. Are you planning to review R&D budgets? Eventually. Why? Silence on the line. Then, because if you do, you're going to find some irregularities, and I'd rather explain them to you first than have you discover them the way you discovered Mr. Hutchins' fraud. Mike's pulse quickened. What kind of irregularities? The kind where I approved expenditures for equipment we never received, where vendors charged us for materials that don't exist, where I signed off on everything because I trusted the wrong person. How much money are we talking about? Roughly $80,000 over 6 months. Mike closed his eyes. Who was it? Brad Hutchins. He approached me last year. Said he'd found a way to streamline R&D purchasing. Said he'd handled the vendor relationships personally. I was overwhelmed, understaffed, so I said yes. I didn't know he was stealing. I swear I didn't know. Dr. Chen, why are you telling me this? Because you seem like someone who cares about truth more than politics, and because I can't sleep at night knowing I was part of it even unknowingly. Her voice cracked. I have 2 kids in college. I'm 56 years old. If this comes out wrong, my career's over. But I can't stay silent either. Mike leaned back, processing. Okay, here's what we're going to do. You're going to compile every document related to those transactions. Every email, every approval, every communication with Hutchins. You're going to bring them to me by end of day. Then you and I are going to Elena together and explain what happened. You won't just report me. You're a victim, not a criminal. There's a difference. But you have to come clean completely. No holding back. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. You don't know what this means. Call me Mike and Dr. Chen. This took courage. Don't forget that. He hung up and immediately texted Elena. Need to talk before the board meeting. It's urgent. Her response came instantly. My office, now. 5 minutes later, Mike laid out everything Dr. Chen had told him. Elena listened, face darkening. So, Brad's fraud was bigger than we thought. Looks like it. But Chen's cooperating. That counts for something. It counts for everything. Elena picked up her phone. I'm calling our attorney. We need to loop in the investigation before the board meets. This changes the narrative. How so? Because it shows Brad was a cancer that infected multiple departments. It proves your oversight is even more critical than we thought. She paused. Mike, you just saved another career. You realize that I just told her to do the right thing. Most people wouldn't have listened. They would have reported her immediately to protect themselves. You protected her first. Elena shook her head, something like awe in her expression. Your wife raised you right. My wife raised me to see people, not problems. There's a difference. Yeah, there is. Elena dialed her attorney. Get comfortable. Today just got a lot longer. At 2 o'clock, Maria Gonzalez knocked on Mike's door. She was maybe 25, nervous, clutching a worn notebook like it was precious. Mr. Thompson, I'm sorry I'm early. You're perfect. Come in, sit down. Mike cleared space on his desk. Coffee. No, thank you. I'm too nervous to drink anything. Don't be nervous. I've been where you are. Actually, I was where you are 3 weeks ago. He smiled. Tell me what you've got. Maria opened her notebook. Pages of handwritten observations, charts, dias. Okay, so I work night shift cleaning, and I started noticing things like the executive floor throws away perfectly good office supplies every week. Pens that still work, notepads barely used. I started collecting them, and in 3 months, I filled 2 boxes. Mike leaned forward. How much does TechFlow spend on office supplies annually? According to the purchase orders I saw in recycling, about $48,000. And you think we're wasting how much of that? At least 30%, maybe more. She flipped pages. I also noticed the HVAC system runs full blast all night in empty buildings. I asked facilities why, and they said it's on a timer that nobody's adjusted in 5 years. We're heating and cooling buildings with nobody in them. Mike started taking notes. What else? The cafeteria throws away food every day. Good food. I asked the manager why they don't donate it, and she said it's too much paperwork, but I researched it. There are 3 food banks within 2 miles that would take it. We could get a tax deduction and feed people. Maria, this is excellent work. Really excellent. Mike looked at her. Why didn't you suggest these things before? Her face fell. I tried. I sent an email to facilities about the HVAC. They said cleaning staff should focus on cleaning. I mentioned the food waste to the cafeteria manager. She said it wasn't my concern. After a while, you stopped trying. Well, I'm trying, and I'm listening. How would you feel about presenting these ideas to department heads? Maria's eyes went wide. Me present? Why not? They're your ideas. You should get credit. Mr. Thompson, I barely graduated high school. I clean toilets. Nobody's going to listen to me. They listened to me, and 3 weeks ago I was mopping these same floors you clean now. Mike pulled up a blank document on his computer. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to walk me through each idea. I'm going to help you quantify the savings. Then we're going to build a presentation together. You present it in 2 weeks. I can't do that. Yes, you can. Because you're smart, you're observant, and you care. That's all leadership is, Maria. Caring enough to speak up even when people tell you to be quiet. Tears filled her eyes. Why are you helping me? Because someone helped me and because your ideas are good. Really good. He smiled. Also, my 12-year-old son is a PowerPoint genius. If you want, he can help with graphics. Maria laughed through her tears. Okay, let's do it. They worked for 2 hours. By the time Maria left, she had a solid framework for her presentation and something Mike recognized instantly because he'd felt it 3 weeks ago, hope. At 3 o'clock, Mike walked into the boardroom wearing his suit and fighting every instinct to run. 12 board members sat around a massive table, Elena at the head, an empty chair next to her with his name on a placard. Micah, glad you could join us. Elena gestured to the seat. Everyone you know, Mike Thompson. Mike, you know everyone. He sat down, hyper-aware of every eye on him. Richard Caldwell, board chairman, spoke first. Mr. Thompson, we've reviewed your presentation from Friday. Impressive work, very impressive. We have questions. Of course. First question. You identified nearly $500,000 in savings. How confident are you in those numbers? Completely confident. I have vendor quotes, comparative market analysis, and implementation timelines that account for potential setbacks. The savings are conservative estimates. We could potentially save more. Another board member leaned forward. Margaret something? Mike couldn't remember her last name. And the fraud you uncovered. How did you find it when our entire finance team missed it? I wasn't looking for fraud specifically. I was analyzing patterns. When I saw invoice sequences out of order and payments to vendors that didn't match purchase orders, I investigated. It took maybe 4 hours of cross-referencing. 4 hours? Margaret looked at Elena. We pay auditors $50,000 a year and they missed it. The janitor finds it in 4 hours. Mike bristled. Former janitor. And I found it because I wasn't assuming everything was correct. I was questioning everything. There's a difference. Richard nodded slowly. Fair point. Next question. Elena tells us you want to implement a company-wide innovation program. Explain. Mike took a breath. This morning I met with a night cleaning employee named Maria Gonzalez. She showed me ideas that could save us another $100,000 annually. Simple observations that nobody's listening to because she's low-level staff. How many more Marias are in this building? How many more people have valuable insights that we're ignoring because of job titles? And your solution. Create formal channels for suggestions. Quarterly review meetings where anyone can present ideas. Financial incentives for implemented suggestions. Public recognition for contributors. Mike leaned forward and told us, make innovation part of the culture instead of keeping it trapped in corner offices. Silence around the table. Then Margaret smiled. I like him. He's got spine. Richard cleared his throat. Mr. Thompson, the board would like to offer you a position, Director of Operational Excellence. You'd oversee all efficiency initiatives, report directly to Elena, and have budget authority for implementations. Salary commensurate with the role. What do you say, Director? Budget authority, report to Elena. Mike thought of Dylan, of their cramped apartment they were being evicted from, of his wife's medical bills. I say yes, thank you. Excellent. We'll have HR draw up paperwork. Richard stood, extended his hand. Welcome to the executive team, Mike. Don't let us down. I won't. After the meeting, Elena caught Mike in the hallway. Director Thompson, has a nice ring. I can't believe that just happened. Believe it, you earned it. She paused. Mike, I need to tell you something. When I first saw your clipboard with all those notes, I almost threw it away. I almost dismissed it as janitor nonsense. Then I actually read it and I realized I'd been doing exactly what I criticized others for doing. I was judging value by title instead of content. Oh, why are you telling me this? Because I don't want you to make the same mistake. Maria Gonzalez has good ideas. So does the IT guy who never speaks up in meetings. So does the receptionist who notices everything. Your job now is to find those people and give them what I gave you a chance. I can do that. I know you can. That's why you're here. Elena started to walk away, then turned back. Oh, and Mike find a new apartment this week. Directors don't live in buildings with eviction notices. He laughed. Yes, ma'am. That night, Mike picked Dylan up from school and drove to a nicer part of town. They looked at apartments with 2 bedrooms, places with parks nearby, schools that had robotics programs. Dad, we can't afford these places. Actually, we can now. I got promoted today. Director. Dylan stopped walking. Director, like boss director. Like boss director. Holy crap. Language. Sorry, but holy crap, Dad. They toured 3 apartments. Dylan loved the third one. Big windows, his own bathroom, a building with a gym. This one, Dylan said firmly, this is the one. Mike signed the lease that night. First month, last month, security deposit. Numbers that would have terrified him 4 weeks ago now felt manageable. Driving home, Dylan was quiet. You okay, bud? Yeah, just thinking about Mom. Wishing she could see this. She can see it. I really believe that. You think she's proud? I think she's been proud of us every single day. Especially you. You've been so strong through all of this. I'm not strong. I'm scared all the time. Mike pulled over, looked at his son. Being scared doesn't mean you're not strong. It means you're brave enough to keep going anyway. That's actual courage, Dylan. Is that what you've been doing, being brave while scared? Every single day. Dylan nodded slowly. Then I guess we're both brave. Yeah, I guess we are. Tuesday morning brought a new challenge. Mike arrived to find protesters outside TechFlow's building. 7 people with signs. Nepotism at TechFlow. CEO promotes her boy toy. Meritor favors. Mike walked past them head high, but his stomach churned. Security met him at the door. Mr. Thompson, we're handling it. They'll be gone soon. Who organized this? We're trying to find out. They won't say. Upstairs, Elena was on the phone, pacing her office like a caged tiger. She saw Mike and waved him in. I don't care if they have a permit. They're harassing my employees and spreading lies. Figure it out. She hung up. You saw them. Hard to miss. Brad's lawyer arranged it, I'm almost certain, trying to make you look illegitimate before his trial. It's working. People are staring at me again. Elena grabbed his shoulders. Listen to me. Brad is desperate. Desperate people make noise because it's all they have left. You have results. You have data. You have the board's support. Don't let noise drown out truth. Easy to say? I know, but it's still right. She released him. You have that meeting with operations at 10. Show them the same brilliance you showed everyone else. Make them remember why you're here. The operations meeting went well. Mike presented consolidation strategies for their supply vendors, showed projected savings, answered every technical question with precision. James from operations shook his hand afterward. Mike, I owe you an apology. I was one of the people who thought Elena made a mistake hiring you. I was wrong. You weren't wrong for questioning. You were just missing information. That's generous. No, that's realistic. People judge based on what they see. I'm just glad you're seeing the whole picture now. Wednesday brought Maria's first coaching session. Mike spent 3 hours helping her refine her presentation, teaching her how to anticipate questions, how to speak with confidence. I'm going to mess this up, Maria said, staring at her notes. Probably. I messed up my first presentation too, but you'll learn from it and do better next time. That's how it works. You didn't mess up your presentation. It was perfect. It was my 15th presentation, Maria. You didn't see the 14 disasters before it. Mike smiled. I once pitched a logistics plan to Bremen executives and accidentally called the CEO by the wrong name. Top. He still approved the plan because the idea was good. That's what matters. What if they laugh at me? Then they're idiots and you ignore them. Present to the people who want to listen. There will always be both kinds in every room. Maria nodded, some confidence returning. Okay, I can do this. Yes, you can. Thursday morning, Dr. Chen's full report hit Elena's desk. Mike sat with her while she reviewed it. Brad was stealing from 3 departments, Elena said quietly. Finance, R&D, and procurement. Total is close to $500,000. How did nobody notice? Because he was CFO. He had access to everything. He could manipulate records, hide transactions, create false vendors. He had trust and authority. Elena closed the folder. You know what the worst part is? I promoted him. I trusted him. I gave him that power. You couldn't have known. I should have known. I'm the CEO. This is my responsibility. Then learn from it. Build better controls. Implement better oversight. Turn this failure into a system that prevents future failures. That's leadership, Elena. Not being perfect, but fixing things when they break. She looked at him with tired eyes. When did you get so wise? When my wife was dying, and I had to learn that some things can't be fixed, only endured, and that surviving doesn't make you weak, it makes you stronger. Mike paused. You're surviving this, don't forget that. Thank you, Mike, for everything. We're partners, this is what partners do. Friday afternoon, Mike got a call from Dylan's school. His heart stopped. Not again. Mr. Thompson, this is Principal Morrison. Don't worry, Dylan's not in trouble. I'm calling because I wanted to tell you something. Dylan gave a presentation today in his social studies class about perseverance and believing in yourself. He talked about you, about how you went from janitor to director. He brought half the class to tears, Mr. Thompson, including me. Mike's throat closed. He did, and I wanted to apologize for how we handled the suspension, for not recognizing that Dylan was defending his family. You're raising a remarkable young man. Thank you. That means more than you know. That evening, Mike took Dylan out to dinner, real dinner, steakhouse with cloth napkins. Dad, this is too expensive. We can afford it now. Order whatever you want. Dylan ordered a steak. Mike did too. They sat in the nice restaurant surrounded by people in business suits, and Dylan smiled. Principal Morrison called you, didn't she? She did. Told me about your presentation. I wanted to tell your story. Show people that titles don't define worth. That was okay, right? Mike reached across the table, squeezed his son's hand. That was more than okay. I'm so proud of you. I can barely breathe. Mom would have loved this. The restaurant, the new apartment, you being important. I'm not any more important than I was when I mopped floors, Dylan. I just have a different job now. No, Dad. You're exactly as important as you always were. Other people just finally notice. There's a difference. Mike stared at his son, this 12-year-old philosopher, and realized Dylan understood everything better than he did. When did you get so smart? I had a good teacher. Dylan grinned. 2, actually. You and Mom. Between you both, I didn't stand a chance at being dumb. They laughed and ate expensive steaks, and for the first time in 3 years, Mike felt like maybe, just maybe, they were going to be okay. Saturday morning moving day. Mike and Dylan packed up their old apartment. Mrs. Patterson came to help along with Maria Gonzalez and her husband. You don't have to help, Mike said. It's your day off. Are you kidding? Maria laughed. You're helping me change my life. Least I can do is help you move a couch. They worked all morning. By afternoon, the new apartment was full of boxes and possibility. Dylan claimed his room immediately, set up his desk by the window. Dad, come look. Mike walked in. Dylan had hung a picture on the wall. Sarah. Their wedding day. She was laughing, radiant, alive. Thought Mom should see the new place too. Mike pulled Dylan into a hug held on tight. She sees it, bud. I promise she sees everything. Sunday, Mike spent the day unpacking and thinking about the past month. From janitor to director. From invisible to undeniable. From broke to stable. But mostly he thought about the people who'd helped him. Elena, who saw potential. Dylan, who never stopped believing. Maria, who reminded him why he fought. And Sarah. Always Sarah. The woman who'd loved him when he was nobody special and would have loved him exactly the same now. His phone rang. Elena. Hope I'm not interrupting your weekend. Never. What's up? Board approved Maria's presentation slot. 2 weeks from today. All hands meeting. Same setup you had. She's going to be terrified. So were you. Look how that turned out. Elena paused. Mike, I've been thinking about what you said, about finding more people like you and Maria. I want to create a formal program, talent identification across all levels. You'd run it. Interested? Absolutely. Good, because I'm tired of almost missing brilliant people just because they're not in the right positions. We're going to change that. Starting now. Mike hung up and looked around his new apartment. Boxes everywhere. Fresh start. New chapter. Dylan wandered in, eating cereal straight from the box. Was that Elena? Yeah, she wants me to run a new program. Find talented people throughout the company. Like she found you. Exactly like she found me. Cool, you'll be good at that. Dylan took another bite of cereal. Dad, I have a question. Shoot. Do you ever miss mopping floors? Mike thought about it. Really thought about it. You know what? Sometimes. It was simple. Predictable. Nobody expected anything from me. But I was invisible, and being invisible is its own kind of death. I'd rather be visible and terrified than invisible and safe. Dylan nodded seriously. Mom used to say something like that safety is overrated, that living means risking. Your mom was the bravest person I ever knew. No, Dad, she was the second bravest. You're the first. Mike smiled through the sudden tears. We're quite the pair, aren't we? The best pair. Dylan raised his cereal box. To us, and to Mom, and to whatever comes next. Mike grabbed his coffee mug, clinked it against the cereal box. To us, and to proving that greatness can come from anywhere if someone bothers to look. They stood in their new apartment in their new life surrounded by boxes and hope and possibility. Outside Portland hummed with evening traffic. Inside, a father and son who'd survived the impossible, prepared for whatever came next. Because they were fighters. Both of them. And fighters don't quit when things get hard. They just keep going. One day at a time, one challenge at a time, one victory at a time. And sometimes, if they're very lucky, they find people along the way who see them for who they really are. Not janitors or directors or titles or positions. Just people. Trying their best. Doing what's right. Refusing to stay invisible. That was Mike Thompson's revolution. Not changing what he did, but changing how others saw what he'd always been capable of doing. And it was only just beginning. Monday morning hit different. Mike walked into TechFlow wearing a new suit, carrying a leather briefcase Dylan had insisted he needed, and for the first time in his life, he felt like he belonged in the building instead of just working in it. His new office was on the executive floor. Actual window, actual door that closed. Name placard that read, Michael Thompson, Director of Operational Excellence. He stood in the doorway staring at it. Looks good, doesn't it? Mike turned. Elena stood behind him holding 2 coffees. It looks surreal. Get used to it. You've got a staff meeting in 20 minutes. Your team. My team. 3 analysts, 2 project managers, and an administrative assistant who starts Wednesday. They're waiting in conference room B. She handed him a coffee. Welcome to management, Mike. It's about to get really complicated. A conference room B held 5 nervous-looking people who all stood when Mike entered. Please sit down. I'm Mike Thompson, apparently your new boss, and I'm probably more nervous than you are. A woman in her 30s with sharp eyes smiled slightly. I'm Jennifer Reeves, senior analyst. We've all read your presentation. It was impressive. Thank you. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I've never managed a team before. I've never had an office on the executive floor. 5 weeks ago, I was mopping these floors at night. So if I mess up, which I probably will, please tell me. I'd rather look stupid and learn than pretend I know everything. A younger guy, maybe 25, laughed. I like you already. I'm Marcus Chen, project manager. No relation to Dr. Chen in R&D, but I get asked that constantly. The others introduced themselves. Two more analysts, Kevin and Priya. Another project manager named Rachel. All of them smart, all of them watching him carefully. Okay, here's what I know, Mike said. This company has been bleeding money through inefficiency for years. We're going to stop that. But we're also going to do something bigger. We're going to find talented people at every level of this organization and give them opportunities to contribute. The janitors, the cafeteria workers, the IT help desk, everyone. Because great ideas don't care about your title. Jennifer leaned forward. That's ambitious. You know, most executives are going to fight you on that, right? Let them fight. They fought me too. I won. Mike pulled up his laptop. Our first project is helping Maria Gonzalez prepare her presentation. She's night cleaning crew and she's got ideas that could save us 6 figures. You're going to help her quantify them, polish them, and present them in 2 weeks. Questions. Kevin raised his hand. Why are we helping a janitor? Shouldn't we focus on bigger targets? Mike looked at him steadily. Because Maria is a bigger target. She represents every person in this building who has valuable insights that get ignored. If we can elevate her, we prove the system works. We prove that talent recognition isn't just talk. And we change the culture. That's bigger than any cost-saving measure I could dream up. Kevin nodded slowly. Okay, I'm in. Good, let's get to work. They spent 3 hours breaking down Maria's ideas. Jennifer ran financial models, Marcus built implementation timelines, Priya researched comparable programs at other companies. By lunch, they had a solid framework, more than solid, exceptional. This is really good work, Mike said. Maria's going to be blown away. When do we meet her? Rachel asked. This afternoon. 2 o'clock, she's terrified, so be kind. But also be honest, she needs real feedback, not just encouragement. At 2, Maria walked into the conference room, looking like she might throw up. Mr. Thompson, I didn't know there would be so many people. These are my team. They're here to help. Sit down, show them your ideas. Maria opened her worn notebook with shaking hands and started talking. Hesitant at first, then stronger. By the end, she was animated, explaining her observations with passion. The team asked questions, real questions, technical questions. Maria answered every single one. When she finished, Jennifer smiled. Maria, these ideas are excellent, truly excellent. With some refinements, this could save TechFlow over $200,000 annually. Maria's eyes went wide. $200,000? Conservative estimate. Could be more. Jennifer pulled up her laptop. Let me show you the models we built. They worked for 2 hours. Maria contributing insights, the team building frameworks, Mike watching it all unfold, thinking, this is what leadership should look like. After Maria left practically floating, Jennifer approached Mike. That was good, really good. You made her feel valued. She is valued. That's the point. Most directors wouldn't have bothered. They would have taken her ideas and claimed credit themselves. Mike shook his head. Then most directors are doing it wrong. Maria deserves credit for her work, just like I deserved credit for mine. Anything else is theft. Jennifer studied him. You're different. I wasn't sure about you at first, but you're actually different. Different good or different bad? Different real. That's rare up here. That evening, Mike picked Dylan up from robotics club. His son climbed into the car, grinning. Dad, guess what Mr. Peterson said? I could enter the regional competition, the one in Seattle. That's amazing. When is it? 3 weeks, but it costs $200 to register and we need to buy parts. Dylan's smile faded. It's okay if we can't afford it. I know we just moved and everything. Mike pulled over, looked at his son. Dylan, we can afford it. I make enough now that $200 isn't a crisis. Register for the competition. Buy whatever parts you need. You've earned this. You sure? Completely sure. Your mom would want you to do this. She'd be so proud of you. Dylan's eyes got bright. She'd be proud of you too, Dad. You know that, right? I hope so. I know so. Mom always said you were capable of amazing things if someone gave you a chance. Elena gave you that chance. Now you're giving Maria her chance. That's what Mom meant. Mike pulled his son into a hug, overwhelmed by how much wisdom lived in this 12-year-old body. When did you get so smart? Genetics. I got it from my parents. They drove home laughing, and Mike felt something he hadn't felt in years. Not just stability, not just security, but actual joy. Tuesday brought unexpected drama. Mike arrived to find an email from Brad Hutchins' attorney. Mr. Thompson, my client wishes to depose you regarding your allegations of fraud. We believe your findings were incomplete and potentially defamatory. Please contact our office to schedule testimony. Mike forwarded it to Elena and legal immediately. Within an hour, he was in Elena's office with their chief counsel, David Martinez. This is intimidation, David said flatly. Brad's attorney knows the evidence is solid. They're trying to rattle you before trial. Is it working? Elena asked Mike. No, I found the fraud. I documented everything. They can depose me all they want. Numbers don't lie. They'll try to make you look incompetent, question your credentials, suggest you manipulated data to make yourself look good. Mike smiled without humor. Let them try. I've been questioned my whole life. One more attorney doesn't scare me. Elena nodded approval. David scheduled the deposition. Make it clear Mike is cooperating fully, and make sure Brad's team knows we have additional evidence from Dr. Chen. See if that changes their appetite for going to trial. After they left, Elena poured 2 glasses of water, handed one to Mike. You're handling this well. What choice do I have? Fall apart. That doesn't help anyone. Most people would be terrified. Brad was CFO. He has connections, resources. He could make your life very difficult. He already made my life difficult. He spread rumors that got my son suspended. That got us evicted. That turned half this company against me. Mike's voice hardened. I'm done being afraid of men like Brad. He stole from this company, from every employee here. He doesn't get to intimidate me into silence. Good, because we need that fire for what's coming next. What's coming next? Elena pulled up an email on her phone. The board wants to present your operational excellence program at the annual shareholder meeting. 300 investors, press coverage, national stage. You'd be the face of TechFlow's transformation. Mike's stomach dropped. National stage? You can say no. I'll present it myself. But Mike, you're the story. Former janitor turned director who saved the company millions. That's powerful. That's the kind of narrative that changes how people think about talent and potential. Or it's the kind of narrative that makes me look like a token. The feel-good story that distracts from real issues. Only if we let it be that. If you present the data, the results, the actual substance, it's not a feel-good story. It's proof that the system works when we fix it. Elena paused. But it's your call. This is your life, your story. I won't push. Mike thought about Maria, about Dylan, about every person who'd ever been overlooked because they didn't fit someone's narrow definition of valuable. I'll do it. But Maria presents with me. Her ideas, her stage time, her recognition. Deal? Elena smiled wide. Deal. Absolutely deal. Wednesday morning brought Mike's new assistant. Claire Patterson, 52 years old, 20 years of executive admin experience, and according to HR, the most organized person they'd ever met. She knocked on Mike's door at exactly 8 a.m. Mr. Thompson, I'm Claire, your assistant. I've reviewed your calendar, reorganized your files, and identified 17 process inefficiencies in how your predecessor structured this role. Would you like to discuss them now or after your 9 o'clock meeting? Mike blinked. Now is fine. Claire sat down, pulled out a tablet, and proceeded to revolutionize his workflow in 20 minutes. Color-coded calendars, automated reminders, streamlined communication protocols. Claire, this is incredible. How did you do this so fast? I've been an executive assistant for 2 decades, Mr. Thompson. I know how directors work, or more accurately, I know how they should work and usually don't. She smiled. My job is to make your life easier so you can focus on what matters. So, let me do my job. Yes, ma'am. Also, your son called. He wanted to know if you'll be home for dinner. I told him yes, 6:30, and I've blocked your calendar accordingly. Family time is non-negotiable unless there's a genuine emergency. Mike stared at her. You talked to Dylan. He's delightful, very polite. He told me about his robotics competition. I've already researched the requirements and ordered the parts he needs. They'll arrive Friday. Claire, you didn't have to do that. Mr. Thompson, your predecessor was a nightmare who treated assistants like servants. You, according to office gossip, are a good man who treats people with respect. I intend to make sure you succeed. That means handling details so you don't have to. Now your 9 o'clock is waiting. Go, I'll bring you coffee in 10 minutes. Mike stood slightly dazed. Thank you, Claire. Don't thank me, just keep being decent. That's payment enough. The 9 o'clock meeting was with Dr. Patricia Chen. She looked exhausted like she hadn't slept in days. Mike, thank you for meeting with me. I wanted to update you on the investigation. Of course. How are you holding up? Honestly, terrified. The attorney says I won't face charges, but my reputation is damaged. People think I was complicit. People who matter know you weren't. You came forward. You cooperated. That takes courage. Or desperation. She laughed bitterly. But I wanted to tell you something. Since this came out, 3 other department heads have reached out to me privately. They suspect irregularities in their budgets too. Brad's fraud might be bigger than any of us realized. Mike's pulse quickened. How much bigger? Potentially over $1 million across 5 years. Does Elena know? Not yet. I wanted to tell you first. You found the initial fraud. This is your investigation. No, this is our investigation, and we need to tell Elena immediately. If there are more victims, more evidence, we need to compile everything before Brad's attorney tries to muddy the waters. They walked to Elena's office together. She listened to Dr. Chen's update, face growing darker with each revelation. $1 million. Brad stole $1 million from this company. Elena's voice shook. From the people who trusted him. How did I miss this? Because he was good at hiding it, Mike said. And because fraud relies on trust. He exploited that. But Patricia came forward. Others are coming forward. We're uncovering it now. That's what matters. Is it because it feels like I built a company on quicksand? Like everything I thought was solid is actually corrupt? Not everything. Not even most things. Brad was one person. One cancer. You're removing it. That's leadership, Elena. Not preventing every problem, but fixing them when they appear. She looked at him with tired eyes. You always say the right thing. How do you do that? I don't. I just say what I wish someone had said to me when I was drowning. Elena nodded slowly, then straightened her shoulders. Okay. Patricia, I want names of everyone who suspects irregularities. Mike, I want your team to audit every transaction Brad approved for the last 5 years. This ends now, completely. They worked until midnight. Mike's team pulled records, audited accounts, cross-referenced transactions. By Thursday morning, they had evidence of fraud across 7 departments totaling $1.3 million. David Martinez Legal reviewed everything with grim determination. This is career-ending for Brad. Potentially criminal charges beyond what we originally thought. I'm recommending we turn everything over to federal prosecutors. This crosses state lines. It's wire fraud now. Elena signed the authorization without hesitation. Do it. I want Brad prosecuted to the fullest extent. He didn't just steal from TechFlow, he stole from every employee who believed in this company. Mike watched her transform from hurt to fierce in real time. This was leadership, not perfection, but accountability. Friday afternoon, Maria's coaching session went differently than before. She walked in confident, prepared, excited. Mr. Thompson, I've been practicing. My husband made me present to him 4 times last night. I think I'm ready. Show me. Maria went through her entire presentation without notes. Smooth delivery, clear data, compelling narrative. When she finished, Mike's team applauded. Maria, that was excellent, Jennifer said. Truly professional. You think people will listen? They'd be idiots not to. You're presenting solutions that save money and help people. That's a winning combination. After everyone left, Maria lingered. Mike, can I ask you something personal? Of course. Why are you doing this, really? You could take credit for my ideas. You could present them yourself and nobody would question it. Why give me the spotlight? Mike thought about his wife, about dying in a hospital room while people whispered she should have just stayed positive, about being invisible for 3 years while the world moved on. Because I know what it feels like to be invisible, Maria, to have value that nobody sees. And I made a promise to myself that if I ever got the chance, I'd make sure other people didn't feel that way. You deserve recognition. You deserve respect. You deserve to be seen. Tears filled Maria's eyes. Thank you. Nobody's ever believed in me like this. Then nobody was paying attention. Now go home. Rest this weekend. Monday we finalize everything. Wednesday you change your life. Maria left smiling, and Mike felt something deep and warm settle in his chest. Purpose. This was what purpose felt like. Saturday, Mike took Dylan to the park. They flew a kite, ate hot dogs, talked about everything and nothing. Dad, can I ask you something? Always. Do you miss Mom less now because things are good? Mike's heart clenched. I don't miss her less, Dylan. I miss her differently. The grief isn't as sharp as it was, but it's still there. It'll always be there. She was part of me. Losing her left a hole that doesn't close. But you're happy now, I can tell. I'm healing. There's a difference. Happy and healing aren't the same thing, but they can exist together. Mike pulled Dylan close. Your mom would want us to heal, to build good lives, to remember her with love instead of just sadness. That's what we're doing. I think she'd like Maria and Elena and Claire. Yeah, she would. She always liked people who were real, who didn't pretend to be something they weren't. They flew the kite until sunset, and Mike felt Sarah's presence in the wind, in the laughter, in the way Dylan's smile reminded him so much of her. Sunday evening, Mike got a text from an unknown number. Mr. Thompson, this is James Rivera's second shift warehouse. I heard about Maria's presentation. I have ideas too, about shipping protocols. Can we talk? Mike responded immediately. Absolutely. My office Monday at 4 p.m. Bring your ideas, all of them. Elena called an hour later. Did you just schedule a meeting with James Rivera? Yeah, he has shipping ideas. Why? Because James has been with TechFlow for 15 years. He's never once reached out to management, never suggested anything. You're changing the culture, Mike. People are starting to believe their ideas matter. Their ideas do matter. That's the whole point. I know, but making people believe it? That's the hard part. You're doing that. Keep going. Monday morning arrived with unexpected chaos. Mike walked into TechFlow to find news vans outside, reporters with cameras, security trying to manage the crowd. What's happening? Claire met him at the elevator, tablet in hand. Brad's attorney held a press conference this morning, claimed you fabricated evidence to destroy his client, said you're a janitor playing detective with no real credentials. The media's eating it up. Mike's stomach dropped. Does Elena know? She's in crisis management with legal. They want you to stay quiet, no statements, no interviews. But people think I lied. People who matter know you didn't. Everyone else. They don't pay your salary or determine your value. Ignore them. Mike wanted to argue, but Claire was right. He went to his office, closed the door, and tried to focus on work. At 10, Jennifer knocked. Mike, you need to see this. She pulled up a video on her laptop. Dylan, his son, standing in front of his school talking to a reporter. My dad didn't lie about anything. He's the most honest person I know. He found fraud because he's good at his job, not because he made anything up. And people who say different don't know him. They don't know what he sacrificed or how hard he worked or how much he cares about doing the right thing. So maybe before you call him a liar, you should actually check the evidence. The reporter tried to ask follow-up questions, but Dylan walked away, shoulders straight, head high. Mike's eyes filled with tears. When did he do this? This morning. It's going viral. Over 50,000 views already. People are defending you online, calling out Brad's attorney. Your son just changed the narrative. Mike grabbed his phone, called Dylan immediately. Hey, Dad. Dylan, why did you talk to reporters? You didn't have to do that. Yeah, I did. They were saying lies about you. I couldn't let them do that. Dylan's voice was steady. Mom always said stand up for what's right even when it's hard. This was hard, but it was right. I'm so proud of you, I don't even have words. Then just come home for dinner. Claire already told me you'd be there at 6:30. Don't be late. Mike laughed through tears. I won't, I promise. The rest of the day felt surreal. Supportive emails poured in, colleagues stopped by his office to express solidarity. The tide was turning. At 4, James Rivera showed up nervous but determined. He pulled out detailed notes about shipping inefficiencies. Mr. Thompson, we're sending partial loads to the same locations 3 times a week. If we consolidated shipments, we'd cut costs by 20% minimum. Mike listened, asked questions, recognized immediately that James was brilliant. Why didn't you suggest this before? Because nobody asked. And when I tried once, my supervisor said worry about loading trucks, not strategy. So I stopped trying. Well, I'm asking, and I'm listening. Can you quantify these savings? Already did. James pulled out spreadsheets, detailed analysis, projected cost reductions. Mike called Jennifer in immediately. I want James added to Maria's presentation. These ideas deserve the same platform. We only have 2 days, Jennifer said. Then we work fast. James, you good with presenting alongside Maria? James looked terrified. I've never presented anything in my life. Neither had Maria before last week. Neither had I before 5 weeks ago. You'll be fine. We'll help. After James left practically floating, Jennifer smiled at Mike. You're building an army. You realize that I'm building a culture where every voice matters, every idea gets heard, every person has value regardless of title. That's what Elena gave me. I'm just paying it forward. Most directors would take credit, build their own empire. Most directors are doing it wrong. This isn't about me, it's about showing that the system can work if we fix it. Tuesday was Maria and James's intensive prep day. Mike's entire team descended on them. Refined presentations, practiced Q&A, built confidence. By evening, both Maria and James could present flawlessly, confidently, powerfully. You're ready, Mike told them. Tomorrow you show TechFlow what real talent looks like. Wednesday morning arrived like destiny. All hands meeting. 300 employees packed the auditorium. Cameras streaming company-wide, executives in the front row. Mike stood backstage with Maria and James, both of them shaking. I can't do this, Maria whispered. There are too many people. Yes, you can. You've practiced. You know your material. You're prepared. Mike looked at both of them. They're not going to remember your nerves. They're going to remember your ideas. Trust yourself. Elena took the stage first. Good morning. Today you're going to hear from 2 TechFlow employees you probably don't know. Maria Gonzalez, night cleaning, James Rivera, warehouse. They have ideas that will save us over $400,000 annually. More importantly, they represent the future of this company. A future where innovation comes from everywhere. Not just corner offices, everywhere. Please welcome Maria Gonzalez. Maria walked out to polite applause, stood at the Vibe podium, took a breath. And then she absolutely crushed it. Maria's voice carried across the auditorium steady and clear, nothing like the trembling woman who'd knocked on Mike's door 3 weeks ago. Good morning. My name is Maria Gonzalez. I clean your offices at night. I empty your trash, vacuum your floors, and wipe down your desks. And while I'm doing that, I notice things. She clicked to her first slide, a photo of a trash bin overflowing with unused office supplies. Every week, I collect approximately $47 worth of perfectly good supplies from executive floor trash cans alone. Pens that still write, notepads barely used, binders with 1 document inside. Over a year, that's $2,400 per floor. We have 6 floors, that's $14,000 in waste, just in supplies. The room was silent, everyone leaning forward. But it's not just supplies. Our HVAC system runs at full capacity 24 hours a day, even though the building is empty from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. I contacted 3 energy consultants. They estimate we could cut heating and cooling costs by 35% with smart scheduling. That's $63,000 annually. Click. Next slide. Photos of cafeteria food being thrown away. Every day, the cafeteria disposes of approximately 40 pounds of prepared food. Good food. I researched local food banks. 3 within 2 miles would accept daily donations. We get a tax deduction, feed hungry families, and reduce waste disposal costs. Estimated annual benefit $42,000. Maria went through 7 more ideas, each one backed by data Jennifer had helped compile. Each one representing money TechFlow was literally throwing away. When she finished, she looked directly at the executives in the front row. I'm not an MBA, I didn't go to college, I clean toilets for a living, but I pay attention, and I care about this company. My ideas could save TechFlow over $200,000 every year. Imagine how much we could save if you listened to everyone like me. The warehouse workers, the cafeteria staff, the security guards, we all see things you don't. We just need someone to ask. She stepped back from the podium. For 3 seconds, nothing. Then the room erupted. Standing ovation. 300 people on their feet applauding a woman who emptied their trash. Maria's eyes filled with tears. She looked backstage at Mike, who was also crying, nodding encouragement. Elena stood, walked to Maria, hugged her in front of everyone. This is what excellence looks like. Thank you, Maria. The applause continued for a full minute. When it finally died down, Elena spoke again. Next, please welcome James Rivera, 15 years in our warehouse. Another voice we should have been listening to all along. James walked out, terrified but determined. He gripped the podium like it was the only thing keeping him upright. Hi, I'm James. I load trucks. Have been for 15 years, and I've been watching us waste money on shipping for all 15 of those years. His first slide showed a map with delivery routes highlighted. We currently send partial loads to Seattle 3 times a week, Portland twice a week, Sacramento 4 times a week. Each trip costs approximately $800 in fuel and driver wages. If we consolidated shipments and sent full loads once a week to each location, we'd cut transportation costs by 40%. That's $320,000 annually. The CFO interim, a woman named Sandra Mills, who'd replaced Brad, sat up straighter, pulling out her phone to take notes. But that's just domestic shipping. Our international freight is even worse. We use 7 different freight forwarders with no volume discounts. I contacted 5 forwarders, negotiated quotes based on consolidated volume. We could save another $180,000 annually just by streamlining carriers. James went through his analysis methodically. Supply chain optimization, route efficiency, carrier consolidation. Everything Mike had taught him to quantify and present. When he finished, he said something that made Mike's chest tight. I almost didn't come forward, almost stayed quiet like I have for 15 years. But then I met Mike Thompson. He told me my ideas mattered, that my experience was valuable, that being a warehouse worker didn't make me stupid. And I realized he was right. We all have value. We just need leaders brave enough to see it. Another standing ovation, longer this time. James stood there overwhelmed, and Mike saw himself 5 weeks ago terrified and vindicated all at once. After both presentations, Elena opened the floor for questions. Hands shot up across the room. Will you implement these ideas? Absolutely, Elena said. Both Maria and James will work directly with Mike Thompson's operational excellence team to implement their proposals. They'll receive bonuses for implemented ideas and recognition in their personnel files. What about the rest of us? How do we submit ideas? Mike stepped onto the stage, microphone in hand. Starting today, we're launching the TechFlow Innovation Initiative. Any employee, any level, can submit operational improvement ideas through an online portal. My team will review every submission. Viable ideas get developed into proposals. Implemented ideas receive financial bonuses and public recognition. We're creating quarterly innovation forums where anyone can present, just like Maria and James did today. An analyst from IT stood up. What if our managers don't like us spending time on this? Then your managers answer to me, Elena said firmly. Innovation time is now part of our culture. Department heads who discourage participation will answer for it in their performance reviews. We're serious about this. Ideas matter more than hierarchy, starting now. The applause this time felt different, not just supportive, energized, like something fundamental had shifted in the room. After the meeting, Mike found Maria and James surrounded by colleagues congratulating them. Maria was crying happy tears. James looked dazed. You both did amazing, Mike said. I'm so proud of you. I can't believe that just happened, Maria whispered. People were listening, really listening. Because you gave them something worth hearing. That's all it takes, Maria. Truth and courage. You had both. Jennifer approached with Sandra Mills, the interim CFO. Mike, Sandra wants to fast-track James's shipping consolidation. She thinks we can implement within 60 days. Sandra extended her hand to James. Mr. Rivera, I've been CFO for 2 weeks and already you've shown me inefficiencies my entire department missed. I'd like you to consult with my logistics team, paid consultant rate, interested. James looked at Mike, speechless. He's interested, Mike said. James, you just got your first consulting contract. Congratulations. After Sandra left, James grabbed Mike's arm. I don't know how to be a consultant. I load trucks. You know shipping better than anyone in this building. That's consulting. You identify problems and propose solutions. You just did that in front of 300 people. You can do it in front of 5 logistics managers, but the says, will you help me? Every step of the way. You're not alone in this, James. None of us are. That afternoon, Mike's team held a celebration in the conference room. Pizza, sparkling cider, Maria and James as guests of honor. To Maria and James, Jennifer raised her glass. For showing us what courage looks like. Everyone drank, laughed, celebrated. For the first time since Mike had taken this job, he felt like they weren't just a team. They were a movement. Claire knocked on the door. Mike, you have a call? At Dylan's school. They said it's important. Mike's heart stopped. He stepped into the hallway, dialed back immediately. Mr. Thompson, this is Principal Morrison. Everything's fine, but we had an incident today I wanted you to know about. What happened? A parent came to school demanding to speak with Dylan. Said some things about you and your promotion that were inappropriate. Dylan handled it beautifully, but security had to escort the parent off campus. I'm calling because we're considering a restraining order and wanted your input. Mike's hands shook. Who was the parent? Brad Hutchins' wife. Apparently she blames you for her husband's arrest. She was quite agitated. Is Dylan okay? Shaken but unharmed. He's in my office now. Would you like to speak with him? Put him on. Dylan's voice came through small and scared. Dad, hey buddy, you okay? Yeah, she was just yelling, saying you ruined their lives, that you're a liar. But I told her the same thing I told that reporter, that you're honest and good, and she should check the evidence. Mike's throat closed up. I'm so proud of you, so incredibly proud. I'm leaving work right now. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Dad, you don't have to. I'm fine. I'm coming anyway. Because that's what dads do. He hung up and found Elena in her office. She took one look at his face and stood. What happened? Brad's wife showed up at Dylan's school, confronted him. Security had to remove her. Where's Dylan now? Principal's office. I'm going to get him. I'm coming with you. This happened because of TechFlow business. That makes it my responsibility too. And they drove to the school in Elena's car, neither speaking. When they arrived, Principal Morrison met them looking concerned. Mr. Thompson, Mrs. Richards. Dylan's okay, but Mrs. Hutchins was quite aggressive. We have security footage if you need it for the restraining order. We'll need it, Elena said firmly. And Principal Morrison, I want you to know this is not Mr. Thompson's fault. Brad Hutchins committed fraud. We have evidence. His wife is lashing out at Mike because she can't face reality. But that ends now. Dylan sat in the principal's office trying to look brave. When he saw Mike, his composure cracked. Dad, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cause trouble. Mike pulled him into a hug. You didn't cause anything. None of this is your fault. Not one single bit. Elena knelt in front of Dylan. Dylan, I'm Elena Richards. I know we haven't officially met, but I want you to know something. Your father is one of the best people I've ever worked with, and you defending him today showed exactly where he learned to be that good. You're remarkable. Dylan wiped his eyes. Mrs. Hutchins said my dad destroyed her family. Your dad exposed a crime. That's different. Brad Hutchins destroyed his own family when he chose to steal. The consequences are his fault, not your dad's. Do you understand that? I think so. Good, because I need you to keep being brave. Can you do that? Dylan nodded. Yes, ma'am. They drove home together, Elena insisting on following them to make sure they got there safely. Inside the apartment, Mike made hot chocolate while Dylan sat on the couch looking small and tired. Dad, are people going to keep being mean to us? Some people will. Because they don't understand what really happened. Or because they're angry and need someone to blame. But buddy, we know the truth. We know I did the right thing. That's what matters. But what if more people show up? What if they come here? Mike sat down next to his son. Then we call the police, we get restraining orders, we protect ourselves, but we don't stop living. We don't let scared, angry people make us scared and angry too. That's how they win. Elena stood in the doorway. Dylan, your dad's right, but I also want you to know TechFlow is providing security for both of you. Starting tomorrow, there will be an off-duty police officer at your school during pickup and drop-off. And Mike, we're providing building security here too. I'm not taking chances with your safety. Elena, that's not necessary. Yes, it is. Brad's attorney is playing dirty. His wife is unstable. Until the trial is over, you both get protection. That's not optional. Mike wanted to argue, but saw the determination in her face and realized this was about more than liability. This was about her feeling responsible for dragging them into this mess. Thank you. Really. Thank you. After Elena left, Mike and Dylan ate dinner quietly. Later, helping Dylan with homework, Mike saw his son's hands were still shaking slightly. You want to talk about what happened today? Really talk about it. Dylan put down his pencil. I was scared, Dad. When she started yelling, I was really scared. But then I remembered what Mom used to say, that brave people are just scared people who don't run away. So I didn't run. Your mom was right, and she'd be so proud of you. Do you think she knows what's happening with us? Mike thought about that, about Sarah in the hospital telling him to promise he'd build a good life after she was gone, about the wind in the park that felt like her presence. Yeah, buddy, I think she knows, and I think she's cheering for us every single day. That night after Dylan was asleep, Mike stood at his window looking at the city lights. His phone buzzed. Text from Jennifer. Mike, check the news. You're going to want to see this. He pulled up the local news website. Top story, TechFlow employees Maria Gonzalez and James Rivera show how innovation comes from unexpected places. The article featured photos from the presentation, quotes from Elena about culture change, a sidebar about Mike's journey from janitor to director. But what caught his attention was the comments section. Hundreds of them, most supportive. This is what real leadership looks like. My company would never let a janitor present ideas. We're losing talent by ignoring people. Mike Thompson is changing corporate culture one person at a time. But some comments were harsh, cruel. Publicity stunt. No way a janitor has ideas worth hundreds of thousands. Elena Richards is desperate. This whole thing reeks of PR damage control. Brad Hutchins was probably set up. This is a witch hunt. Mike closed the browser. He'd learned something in the past 6 weeks. You can't control what people think. You can only control what you do. And he was doing the right thing. That had to be enough. Thursday morning brought unexpected news. David Martinez from legal called Mike into his office. Mike, Brad's attorney, wants to settle. No trial. He pays back the full amount stolen, pleads guilty to reduced charges, serves minimal jail time, and agrees never to work in corporate finance again. What's the catch? He wants you to sign a statement saying you hold no personal animosity toward him, that you were just doing your job. His attorney thinks it'll help with sentencing. Mike laughed without humor. He wants me to help him after he tried to destroy my reputation, after his wife harassed my son. I told them it was unlikely, but legally, you don't owe Brad anything. This is Elena's call, the company's call. Your statement is optional. Mike thought about it, about revenge versus justice, about his son watching how he handled this. I'll sign it on one condition. What condition? Brad has to apologize. Publicly. Not some lawyer-written statement, a real apology admitting what he did and acknowledging the harm he caused. If he does that, I'll sign. David smiled slightly. I'll relay that to his attorney. Something tells me Brad won't like it. Then he can go to trial and face full prosecution. His choice. That afternoon, Mike got a call from an unknown number. Against his better judgment, he answered. Mr. Thompson? A woman's voice. Older. Tired. This is Patricia Hutchins, Brad's mother. Mike's grip on the phone tightened. Mrs. Hutchins, if this is about... Please, just listen. I'm not calling to defend my son. I'm calling to apologize for my daughter-in-law's behavior at your son's school. That was inexcusable. Terrifying a child because she's angry at you. I'm ashamed. Mike didn't know what to say. Mr. Thompson, I know my son stole from your company. I know he tried to destroy your reputation when you caught him. I've known Brad was troubled for years. I just hoped he'd outgrow it. Her voice broke, but he didn't. And now he's paying the price. But your son shouldn't pay any price. No child should. I'm so sorry. Mrs. Hutchins, you don't need to apologize for him. Yes, I do. Because I raised him. And somewhere along the way, I failed to teach him integrity. To teach him that success without character is just expensive failure. She paused. I heard about your presentation. About the cleaning woman and the warehouse worker. About you building a culture where everyone matters as... That's real leadership, Mr. Thompson. That's what Brad could never understand. That power comes from lifting others up, not stepping on them. Mike's throat was tight. Thank you for calling. It means a lot. Take care of your son. Protect him. He's lucky to have a father who actually sees him. She hung up and Mike sat there processing. Even in the worst situations, there were good people trying to do right. That mattered. Friday morning, Brad's attorney called David Martinez back. My client agrees to the public apology. He'll record a statement acknowledging his crimes and apologizing to TechFlow employees, the board, and specifically to Mike Thompson. It'll be released after sentencing. And the daughter-in-law, David asked, what about the restraining order? She's agreed to stay away from the Thompson family, no contact. Violation means she faces charges herself. David looked at Mike. You good with this? Yeah, I'm good with it. Let's end this so we can move forward. The news broke that afternoon. Brad Hutchins accepting a plea deal, admitting fraud, agreeing to repay $1.3 million, facing 2 years in federal prison. Mike's phone exploded with texts. Congratulations. Support. Relief. Elena called. We won. It's finally over. No, we survived. There's a difference. Winning would have been Brad never stealing in the first place. You're right. But surviving matters too. And Mike, you didn't just survive. You transformed this company while surviving. That's extraordinary. That evening, Mike picked Dylan up from Robotics Club. His son climbed into the car, grinning, holding a small robot. Dad, look! I finished the competition robot. Mr. Peterson says it's one of the best designs he's seen in 10 years. Mike examined the intricate machine. Motors, sensors, programming, all built by his 12-year-old son. Dylan, this is incredible. When did you learn to do this? I've been watching YouTube tutorials, researching online, teaching myself. Dylan's smile faded slightly. Is that okay? I know I should have asked permission to spend so much time on it. Asked permission to learn, to build something amazing, buddy? That's exactly what you should be doing. I'm so proud of you. You think Mom would be proud too? Mike pulled his son close. I know she would. She'd be blown away. You're everything she hoped you'd be. Smart, creative, determined. You're perfect, Dylan. They drove home talking about the competition, about robotics, about the future, and Mike realized something profound. He'd spent 6 weeks fighting to prove his worth at work, but his real worth had always been sitting next to him. This kid, this brilliant, brave, beautiful kid who was becoming everything good in the world. Saturday, Mike got an email that changed everything again. From the mayor's office. Mr. Thompson, Mayor Christina Walsh would like to meet with you regarding a citywide initiative to identify talent in underserved communities. She was impressed by your work at TechFlow and believes your model could transform how Portland approaches workforce development. Would you be available next week? Mike stared at the email. The mayor. Workforce development, citywide initiative. He called Elena immediately. Did you do this? Do what? The mayor wants to meet with me about expanding the TechFlow model across Portland. Elena laughed. I didn't do that, but I'm not surprised. Mike, what you built here is bigger than TechFlow. You prove that talent exists everywhere if we bother to look. Cities need that. Companies need that. The world needs that. I'm just one guy. I can't change an entire city. You changed an entire company in 6 weeks. A city's just scale, and you won't be alone. You'll have Maria James, me, your team, and every person you've inspired. That's not one guy. That's a movement. Mike sat down, overwhelmed. Elena, 6 weeks ago, I was mopping floors and wondering if I'd ever be anything more than invisible. Now the mayor wants to meet with me. How did this happen? You stopped accepting invisible. You demanded to be seen. And once people saw you, they couldn't look away. That's how it happened. That night, Mike tucked Dylan into bed, something he hadn't done in months. Dad, you okay? You seem weird. Just thinking about how much has changed, how fast everything happened. Good changes though, right? Yeah, really good changes, but also scary changes. The mayor wants to meet with me, wants me to help the whole city. Dylan sat up excited. That's amazing, you have to do it. I don't know if I'm qualified. What if I mess up? Dad, you always say that. Before you met with Elena, before you presented to the company, before you helped Maria and James, you always think you're not qualified, but you always are. You're just scared. Mike smiled. When did you get so wise? I've always been wise. You just finally started listening. Dylan laid back down. Do the meeting. Help the city. Be the person Mom always knew you were, that's all. That's all? That's everything. Mike kissed his son's forehead. I love you, Dylan. More than anything in this world. Love you too, Dad. Now go be great. I'll be fine. Walking out of Dylan's room, Mike pulled out his phone and responded to the mayor's email. I'd be honored to meet. Let me know when and where. He hit send and felt his wife's presence so strongly he could almost hear her voice. I'm so proud of you, Mike. So incredibly proud. Now stop doubting yourself and go change the world. He whispered to the empty apartment, to the memory of the woman he'd loved, to the universe that had tested him, and then lifted him up. I'm trying, Sarah. Every single day I'm trying. And in that moment, Mike Thompson understood something fundamental. Success wasn't about titles or money or recognition. It was about becoming someone who lifted others up. Someone who saw value everywhere. Someone who refused to let talent stay invisible. He'd started this journey as a janitor trying to survive. He was ending it as a director preparing to transform a city. But really, he was still the same person, just finally visible, finally heard, finally valued. And that made all the difference. Monday morning arrived with the weight of possibility. Mike sat in his car outside City Hall staring at the building where he was supposed to meet Mayor Christina Walsh in 15 minutes. His phone buzzed. Text from Dylan. Stop overthinking. Go change the world. Love you. Mike smiled, texted back a heart emoji, and got out of the car. Inside, a young aide escorted him through marble hallways to the mayor's office. Mayor Walsh stood when he entered, extending her hand with a warm smile. Mr. Thompson, thank you for coming. I've heard remarkable things about your work at TechFlow. Thank you, Mayor Walsh, though I'm still trying to figure out why the mayor's office is interested in what we're doing. She gestured to a chair and sat across from him, no desk between them. Equals having a conversation. Because Portland has a problem, Mike. Can I call you Mike? Of course. We have 15,000 unemployed residents. Many of them are capable, intelligent people who just don't fit traditional hiring models. No college degrees. Work gaps, non-traditional backgrounds. Companies pass them over automatically, but you proved those people have value. You were one of those people. Mike nodded slowly. What exactly are you proposing? A pilot program, city-funded. We identify 50 underemployed workers, people in low-wage jobs who have potential for more. You and your team assess them, train them, connect them with participating companies. We measure results over 6 months. If it works, we expand it. Mayor Walsh, I appreciate the confidence, but I'm not a career counselor. I'm not a social worker. I just happen to be in the right place at the right time. No, Mike, you happen to be the right person with the right skills who someone finally bothered to see. That's different, and that's exactly what these 50 people need. Someone who sees them. She leaned forward. I'm offering you a contract, part-time. You keep your TechFlow position, but you consult with the city 20 hours a week. Decent pay, full support. A chance to prove this model works beyond one company. Mike thought about Maria, about James, about every person he'd met in the past 6 weeks who had value the world ignored. I want conditions. Name them. 1. Maria Gonzalez and James Rivera work with me on this. They know what it's like to be overlooked. Their voices matter. 2. We don't just place people in jobs. We help them build careers, training, mentorship, long-term development. 3. Participating companies commit to actually evaluating these candidates fairly. No token interviews, real opportunities. Mayor Walsh smiled wide. Done. All 3 conditions accepted. When can you start? I need to talk to Elena Richards. Make sure TechFlow supports this. If she does, I can start next week. Perfect. My aide will send over the contract details. She stood, shook his hand again. Mike, you're about to change a lot of lives. I hope you realize that. I'm just trying to give people the same chance Elena gave me, that's all. That's everything. Mike left City Hall feeling like he was living someone else's life. 3 months ago, he'd been mopping those same marble floors during a night shift. Now he was consulting with the mayor on workforce development. He drove straight to TechFlow and found Elena in her office. I need to tell you something. She looked up from her laptop. You met with the mayor. How did you know? Because she called me Friday asking if I'd support you doing contract work for the city. I said absolutely yes before she finished asking. Elena closed her laptop. Mike, this is exactly what should happen. You proved a model works. Now you're scaling it. That's how real change happens. But what about my job here? I can't do both effectively. So we adjust. You go down to 30 hours at TechFlow. You bring on an assistant director to handle day-to-day operations. You focus on strategy and big picture. It'll work. You make it sound simple. It is simple. You're scared it's simple. You keep waiting for the catch, for the moment it all falls apart. But Mike, this is real. You earned this. Stop waiting for permission to accept it. He sat down processing. Who would be assistant director? Jennifer Reeves. She's been hoping you'd promote her. She's brilliant, loyal, and she understands the mission. Perfect choice. What if I fail? What if the city program doesn't work and I embarrass everyone who believed in me? Elena walked around her desk, sat in the chair next to him. Then you fail. You learn from it. You try again. That's how this works, Mike. Success isn't avoiding failure. It's surviving it and getting back up. You know that better than anyone. Sarah used to say something similar, that failure is just data showing you what doesn't work. Your wife was smart. Listen to her even now. Elena squeezed his shoulder. Do the program. Help those 50 people. Show Portland what you showed TechFlow. I believe in you. Dylan believes in you. Maria and James believe in you. Time you believed in yourself. That afternoon, Mike called his team together and told them about the mayor's offer. I'm taking it, which means changes here. Jennifer, I'd like you to be assistant director. You'd handle implementation and day-to-day management while I focus on strategy and the city program. Interested? Jennifer's face lit up. Absolutely, yes, thank you. Don't thank me yet. It's a lot of work. But you've earned it. Mike looked at the rest of the team. Marcus, you'll report to Jennifer now. Kevin, Priya, Rachel, same. This team has done incredible work. I'm not leaving. I'm just expanding what we're doing. Questions? Kevin raised his hand. Can we help with the city program, like volunteer time? I was hoping you'd ask. Yeah, anyone who wants to participate can. We'll need assessors, trainers, mentors. This is all hands on deck if we're going to do it right. After the meeting, Jennifer lingered. Mike, I need to tell you something. When Elena first promoted you, I thought it was a mistake. I thought she was letting personal feelings override judgment. I was wrong. You're the best director I've ever worked for. You actually care about people. That matters. Thank you, Jennifer. That means a lot. And I'm going to need you to keep me honest, to tell me when I'm wrong. Can you do that? Absolutely. That's what good assistant directors do. That evening, Mike took Dylan to his robotics competition in Seattle. They drove up Friday after school, checked into a budget hotel, and spent the evening reviewing Dylan's robot one more time. Dad, what if it doesn't work? What if I get up there and it just falls apart? Then you learn from it and build a better one next time. But Dylan, win or lose, I'm proud of you. You built this yourself. You taught yourself engineering and programming. That's incredible. But all the other kids have parents who are engineers who helped them. I just have you. Mike pulled his son close. You just have me, buddy. I'm the guy who went from janitor to director in 6 weeks. I'm the guy who helped the mayor build a workforce program. You think that's settling? Dylan laughed. When you put it that way, I guess not. You've got everything you need, Dylan. Talent, determination, heart. The rest is just details. Saturday morning, the competition filled a huge convention center. Hundreds of kids, hundreds of robots. Dylan registered nervously, found his assigned station, set up his robot. Mike watched from the stands as the competition began. Dylan's robot performed flawlessly, navigating obstacles, completing tasks, moving with precision that made other parents whisper and point. When the scores posted, Dylan placed third out of 200 competitors. He came running to Mike, trophy in hand, face glowing. Dad, I got third place. Mike hugged him tight. I'm so proud of you, I can't even find words. Mom would have loved this. She would have been screaming and cheering. She is, buddy. Wherever she is, she's screaming and cheering. I guarantee it. They drove back to Portland Sunday afternoon, Dylan clutching his trophy, talking nonstop about next year's competition and how he'd improve his design. Mike listened and thought about how far they'd come. From drowning in grief to building a life worth living. From invisible to seen. From broken to healing. Monday morning brought the city program kickoff. Mike, Maria, and James met at a community center in East Portland with Mayor Walsh and 50 program participants. The participants were exactly what Mike had expected. Older workers pushed out of the job market, single parents with gaps in their resumes, people with criminal records trying to restart their lives, immigrants with degrees that didn't translate. every person overlooked by traditional hiring. "Good morning," Mike said, standing in front of the group. "My name is Mike Thompson. 8 weeks ago, I was a night janitor making $12 an hour. Today, I'm Director of Operational Excellence at TechFlow Solutions, and I'm consulting with the city on this program. Why am I telling you this? Because I want you to know I understand what you're going through. I know what it feels like to be invisible, to have value nobody sees, to wonder if you'll ever get a real chance." He saw heads nodding, people leaning forward. This program isn't charity. It's not us doing you a favor. This is us recognizing that the traditional hiring system is broken, that it overlooks talented people because they don't fit narrow definitions of valuable. You're here because you have potential. Our job is to help you show that potential to employers who are willing to look. Maria stood next to him. "Hi, I'm Maria Gonzalez. I clean offices at night. 2 months ago, I had ideas for saving my company money, but nobody would listen. Mike listened. He helped me present my ideas to 300 people. Now I'm implementing those ideas and helping run this program. If I can do it, you can too." James stepped forward. "I'm James Rivera. I've loaded trucks for 15 years. I had shipping ideas nobody cared about because I was just warehouse labor. Mike cared. Now I'm consulting with the CFO on logistics. My point is, you don't need permission to have value. You just need someone willing to see it. That's what this program is about." They spent the morning assessing participants. What skills did they have? What interested them? What barriers were they facing? Mike met with a woman named Diane Chen, 47 years old, laid off from accounting 2 years ago. "Ms. Chen, tell me about your experience." "I worked for Morrison Accounting for 12 years. Got laid off when they downsized. I've applied to 200 positions since then. I get interviews sometimes, but they always go with younger candidates. I'm too old, too expensive, too experienced. I don't know what else to do." Mike reviewed her resume, impeccable credentials, years of experience, exactly what companies claimed they wanted. "Ms. Chen, you're not too old. You're experienced. There's a difference. The problem isn't you. It's employers who don't know how to value experience. Let me ask you something. If I put you in a room with a CFO who had a real accounting problem, could you solve it?" "Of course. I've handled problems 10 times worse than most CFOs deal with." "Then that's what we'll do. We're going to connect you with companies that have real accounting challenges. You're going to show them solutions, not in interviews, in actual work. Prove your value before they hire you." "You mean like free work?" "No, I mean like paid consulting, short-term contracts. You solve their problem, they see your value, they hire you permanently. Or you move to the next company. Either way, you're employed and using your skills." Diane's eyes filled with tears. "Nobody's offered me that. Everyone just wants to see a resume and decide I'm too risky." "Then everyone is wrong, and we're going to prove it." He had similar conversations all morning. A former teacher who couldn't find work after taking time off for her kids. A veteran with PTSD who struggled with traditional interviews. A reformed former convict who'd earned 2 degrees in prison but couldn't get past background checks. Every single person had value. Every single person had been overlooked. By lunchtime, Mike felt exhausted but energized. This was bigger than TechFlow. This was about fixing a system that threw away talented people because they didn't fit templates. Maria found him in the break room. "Mike, this is incredible. These people are so grateful just to be seen. That woman Diane almost cried when I talked to her." "I know. That's what kills me, Maria. They're grateful for basic respect, for someone taking them seriously. That should be standard, not exceptional. But it's not standard, so we're making it exceptional. That matters." James joined them, looking thoughtful. "I've been thinking about something. What happens after 6 months when the program ends? Do these people just go back to being invisible? Not if we build something sustainable. If we prove this works, the mayor expands it. Other cities copy it. Companies change how they hire. We start a movement, James. That's the goal." Over the next 3 weeks, Mike's team worked with program participants daily. Skills assessments, resume workshops, mock interviews. But more importantly, they connected participants with real work opportunities. Diane Chen landed a 3-month consulting contract with a mid-sized tech company solving payroll discrepancies. She found the problem in 2 days and saved them $40,000. They offered her a permanent position before the week ended. The veteran Marcus Williams started doing security consulting for small businesses. His military experience translated perfectly. Within a month, he had 5 regular clients. The former teacher, Rebecca Stone, began tutoring executives' kids and WordSpread. She was making more than she'd made teaching within 6 weeks. Every success felt like validation, like proof the system could work if someone bothered to try. But not everyone succeeded. A participant named David Foster, who had strong IT skills, struggled with every interview. Brilliant technically, but awkward socially, companies kept passing on him. Mike called him in for a conversation. "David, talk to me. What's happening in these interviews?" "I don't know. I answer their questions. I show my work. But they always say I'm not a culture fit. What does that even mean?" Mike recognized the problem immediately. David was neurodiverse, probably on the autism spectrum. Traditional interviews were killing him not because he lacked skills, but because he processed social interaction differently. "David, you're not failing. The interview format is failing you. So we're changing the format. I'm going to connect you with companies who evaluate skills through work samples instead of interviews. You'll show what you can do, not tell them about it. That work for you. You can do that. I can try, but David, I need you to understand something. There's nothing wrong with you. You process things differently. That's not a deficit. It's just different. The right employer will see that." 2 weeks later, David landed a remote IT position with a company that evaluated candidates through coding challenges instead of interviews. He was thriving. Mike told Elena about it over coffee. "We need to expand this, not just for the city program, but everywhere. Companies are missing talented people because their hiring processes are designed for one type of person. We need to change that." "Agreed. What if we launched a consulting division at TechFlow, help companies redesign hiring processes to be more inclusive? You could lead it." "Elena, I'm already doing 3 jobs. I can't add a 4th. "Then hire someone to run it. Jennifer's running ops. Maria's managing the innovation program. James is doing logistics consulting. Build a team for this too. Mike, you're not one person doing everything anymore. You're a leader building systems that outlast you. That's the goal." She was right. Mike had been so focused on doing the work himself that he'd forgotten the whole point was creating systems that didn't depend on him. "Okay, let's do it. But I want to hire from the city program. Someone who knows what it's like to be overlooked, who has lived experience with bad hiring processes." "Perfect. Find the right person and bring them on." He found her 3 days later. Diane Chen, the accountant who'd been too old and was now consulting with 3 companies simultaneously. "Diane, I have a proposition. How would you feel about coming to TechFlow full-time to build a consulting division focused on inclusive hiring practices?" "Mike, I'm not a recruiter, I'm an accountant." "Exactly. You understand business, you understand systems, and you've lived through bad hiring personally. That makes you perfect for this. You design programs, train companies, measure results, use your analytical skills to fix broken processes." Diane stared at him. "You're serious?" "Completely serious. Competitive salary, full benefits. You'd report directly to me, and you'd be changing how companies think about talent. Interested?" "When do I start?" By mid-November, Mike's world had transformed completely. TechFlow's operations were running smoothly under Jennifer. The city program had placed 37 of 50 participants in meaningful work. Diane was building the inclusive hiring consulting division. Maria was running quarterly innovation forums where employees at all levels presented ideas. But the biggest change came from an unexpected source. Mike came home one evening to find his son working on a presentation on his laptop. "What's that?" "A project for school. We had to present on someone who inspires us. I'm doing mine on you." Mike's throat tightened. "Dylan, you don't have to." "I want to. Dad, you changed your whole life in 3 months. You went from being nobody to being somebody who matters, and you're helping other people do the same thing. That's inspiring." "I was never nobody. I was just invisible. There's a difference." "I know. That's what my presentation is about. How invisible people aren't actually invisible. We just need to look at them differently." Dylan turned his laptop around. "Want to see?" Mike sat next to his son and read through the presentation. It chronicled his journey from janitor to director. But more than that, it talked about dignity, about seeing value in everyone, about how titles don't define worth. "Dylan, this is beautiful, really beautiful. Your mom would be so proud." "I think about her every day, about what she'd think of us now, of you becoming important, of me winning competitions. I think she'd be happy." "She'd be beyond happy. She'd be overjoyed. And you know what else? She'd tell you exactly what I'm telling you. You're not just my son. You're my hero. You've been braver through all this than I have." Dylan leaned into him. We're a team. That's what Mom always said. Teams support each other. Yeah, we're a team. Thanksgiving arrived with an invitation from Elena to join her family for dinner. Mike almost said no, feeling like it was intruding. But Dylan convinced him. Dad, we don't have other family. Elena's been good to us. Let's go. Elena's house was warm and full of people. Her parents, her sister's family, and to Mike's surprise, Maria, James, Jennifer, and several other TechFlow employees. I invite people who don't have somewhere to go, Elena explained. Family isn't just blood, it's people who see you. They ate and laughed and shared stories. Dylan played with Elena's nieces and nephews. Mike found himself relaxed in a way he hadn't been since Sarah died. After dinner, Elena pulled him aside. Mike, I need to tell you something. The board approved a significant raise for you. Director-level salary bumped to VP compensation. You've earned it. Elena, you've already done so much. This isn't charity. This is compensation matching contribution. You've saved this company over $2 million in the past 3 months. You've transformed our culture. You've built programs other companies want to copy. You're worth every penny. Mike thought about the medical bills from Sarah's treatment, the ones he'd been paying down slowly for 3 years. With a VP salary, he could clear them completely. Thank you, really. This changes everything for Dylan and me. Good, you deserve it, both of you. She paused. Your wife would be proud, Mike, of who you've become, of how you've raised Dylan, of the man you are. I hope so. I really hope so. That night, driving home, Dylan asked the question Mike had been waiting for. Dad, are you happy now? Like really happy? Mike thought about it carefully. I'm healing. I'm building. I'm growing. Happy feels too simple for what I am, but yeah, buddy, I'm getting there. Good, because you deserve to be happy. You've been sad for so long. It's nice seeing you smile again. You're the reason I smile. You know that, right? I know, and you're the reason I kept going when Mom died. So I guess we're even. They drove home through Portland streets lit with early holiday lights, and Mike felt something he hadn't felt in 3 years. Hope. Real, sustainable hope for the future. December brought the shareholder meeting where Mike and Maria would present TechFlow's transformation to investors and press. Mike spent a week preparing, rehearsing, perfecting every slide. The morning of the presentation, he stood backstage with Maria, both of them terrified. What if we mess up? Maria whispered. What if they don't care? Then we did our best, and that's all we can do. But Maria, we're telling the truth. About how talent exists everywhere. About how seeing people changes everything. Truth doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be real. Elena found them before they went on. Whatever happens out there, I'm proud of both of you. You've already won by being here, don't forget that. The auditorium held 300 investors, 50 journalists, and enough pressure to crush anyone. Mike walked on stage with Maria, looked out at the sea of faces, and felt his wife's presence. Do it, Mike. Show them who you are. He took a breath and started talking. Good morning. My name is Mike Thompson. 7 months ago, I was cleaning these floors at night for $12 an hour. Today, I am Director of Operational Excellence, and I'm here to tell you why the best investment TechFlow ever made was taking a chance on someone nobody else wanted. He went through the presentation methodically. The cost savings, the culture transformation, the innovation programs, every claim backed by data, every number verified. But more than the numbers, he told stories. About Maria, about James, about Diane Chen and Marcus Williams and David Foster, about 50 people given chances and proving themselves worthy. TechFlow's transformation isn't about me, Mike said near the end. It's about a CEO brave enough to question assumptions. It's about a culture that started valuing ideas over titles. It's about proving that talent doesn't care about your background. It only cares whether someone bothers to look. Maria stepped forward for her portion, and she was magnificent, confident, clear, compelling. She talked about seeing waste every night and finally having someone listen. When they finished, the room exploded. Standing ovation, investors nodding, journalists typing frantically. Elena stood in the wings, crying happy tears. After the presentation, a dozen companies approached Mike about consulting, about replicating the model, about learning how to find hidden talent. He exchanged cards, made promises to follow up, and felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. This was bigger than TechFlow now. This was a movement. That evening, Mike and Dylan celebrated at their favorite restaurant. Cloth napkins, expensive steaks, a life that felt stable. Dad, you were amazing today. I watched the live stream during lunch. Everyone was talking about it. It wasn't just me, it was Maria and Elena and everyone who took chances on people they didn't have to take chances on. But it started with you being brave enough to write down your ideas, to believe they mattered even when nobody else did. Mike looked at his son, this wise 12-year-old philosopher, and realized Dylan understood something profound. You're right, it did start with me, but not because I was special, because I refused to stay invisible. That's the lesson, Dylan. Don't let anyone make you invisible, not ever. I won't, you taught me that. They ate and laughed, and Mike felt his wife's presence so strongly it was almost physical. She was here, in Dylan's laugh, in the life they'd built, in the courage they'd found. Christmas morning arrived quiet and peaceful. Mike and Dylan opened gifts in their apartment, just the two of them like always. But this year felt different, lighter somehow. Dylan had used his robotics competition prize money to buy Mike a new briefcase. Leather? Expensive? The kind directors carried. Dylan, you didn't have to spend your prize money on me. I wanted to. You carry that old backpack everywhere. You needed something better. Mike opened his gift to Dylan, an advanced robotics kit, the one Dylan had been wanting for months. Dad, this is too much. No, it's exactly right. Build something amazing with it. They spent Christmas Day building robots and eating pizza and watching old movies Sarah had loved. Her absence was still there, sharp and real. But it didn't consume them anymore. It just existed alongside the life they were building. That evening, Mike stood at the window looking at the city lights. His phone buzzed. Text from Elena. Merry Christmas, Mike. Thank you for everything you've brought to TechFlow. You changed my life as much as I changed yours. He texted back. Thank you for seeing me when nobody else did. You gave me a chance. I'll spend the rest of my life giving other people the same chance. That's all I ever wanted. Merry Christmas to you and Dylan. Mike put the phone down and felt overwhelming gratitude wash over him. 7 months ago, he'd been drowning. Broke, invisible, desperate. Now he was thriving, stable, seen, purposeful. But more than that, he was helping others do the same. Maria was implementing her ideas. James was consulting with CFOs. Diane was building inclusive hiring programs. 50 city program participants were working meaningful jobs. That was the real success, not his promotion, not his salary, but the ripple effect of one person seeing value and refusing to look away. Dylan came to stand beside him. What are you thinking about? About how far we've come, about your mom, about all the people who helped us get here. Mom would say we helped ourselves, that we were brave enough to try. Your mom was usually right. They stood together looking at Portland's lights, father and son survivors who'd become more than survivors, who'd become proof that invisible people just need someone willing to look. Dad? Yeah. I love our life now. I know it's different without Mom. I know we still miss her, but I love what we built. Mike pulled Dylan close. Me too, buddy. Me too. And in that moment, Mike Thompson understood something his wife had tried to tell him 3 years ago while dying in a hospital bed. That life doesn't end when tragedy happens. It just changes. And if you're brave enough to keep going, to keep trying, to keep believing that tomorrow might be better than today, you can build something beautiful from the broken pieces. He'd started this journey as a janitor who thought he'd never be anything more. He was ending it as a director, consultant, father, mentor, and leader who knew that greatness doesn't come from titles or money or recognition. It comes from seeing value everywhere, from refusing to let anyone stay invisible, from taking chances on people nobody else wanted. That was Mike Thompson's revolution, not changing himself, but changing how others saw the value that had always been there. And that revolution was only beginning, because every person he helped would help someone else. Every chance he gave would multiply. Every voice he elevated would lift others. That was legacy. That was impact. That was what Sarah had meant when she'd whispered on her deathbed. Build something beautiful, Mike. Promise me you'll build something beautiful. He'd kept that promise for her, for Dylan, for himself, for every person who'd ever felt invisible and wondered if they mattered. They mattered. Every single one of them. And Mike Thompson would spend the rest of his life making sure they knew it.